that the Thursday morning is here with us. And we're even more excited that we want it to even come quickly. That in the next 9 days, we're going to the polls to go and cast our votes, to go and vote for who becomes the next president and to go and vote for who becomes the next member of parliament for your constituency. 276 constituencies in all. And where does your choice lie? That is the question that you should be asking yourselves. For a lot of you, you've already made up your mind who it is that you want to vote for. For a few of you, you still haven't decided who it is that you want to go for. But at the end of the day, when the 7th of December comes, once your name is in the voters register, you have to go and vote once you have a voter's ID card. In fact, even if you don't have a voter's ID card, you can go and vote. There are a lot of you out there who believe that my voter's ID card is missing. And because your voter's ID card is missing, you can't go and vote because you don't have it. Obviously, when you go to the polls, you have to show your voter's ID card and then go through the verification process. But let me tell you this morning that even if you don't have a voter's ID card, but you have registered, right? And you had it, and perhaps you can't find it or it is missing, it doesn't mean you can't vote. You can still go and vote because you will be verified by the BVD. So once your name is in the system, even if you don't have a voter's ID card, once your thumbprint is placed on the biometric verification device, if you are indeed in the register, your details will pop out and you'll be able to register. So don't worry if you've misplaced your voter's ID card. Even if your voter's ID card is nowhere to be found, still go to the polls on 7th December and go and cast your votes. You've got just 9 days more. You can trust that here at the EIB Network, we're going to make sure that we bring you a very comprehensive coverage of the elections on the EIB Election Hub. So make sure that you're always watching us for all of the updates. We're excited that you're tuned into GHOne television this morning. My name is Lantam Papanko. And of course, I'm here with my co-host Lily Mohammed. And together, we're going to give you a great show from now till it's 10 a.m. And in between the show, we've got some great stuff coming up. We've got some pretty interesting discussions coming your way as well. And like we always begin the show, let's take a look at our quote of the day. That's something we always begin the show with. And so we'll take a look at our quote of the day this morning. And we always say that our quote of the day is something to provoke your thoughts all throughout the day, something for you to think about and ponder on all throughout the day. And this morning, our quote is from Ralph Waldo Emerson. And he says, the only person you are destined to become is the person you decide to be. That's profound, isn't it? The only person that you are destined to be, or the only person you are destined to become, is the person that you decide to be. That's very profound if you ask me. It's essentially telling us that our life is in our hands, and who we become, what we become, is entirely up to us and the actions that we take. Who do you want to be in future? Who do you want to be in the next 6 months? What kind of person do you want to be in the next 1 year? It all depends on you, and it all depends on the actions that you take. That's why Ralph Waldo Emerson is telling you that the only person that you are destined to become is the person that you decide to be. So decide what you want to become and take the steps that are necessary to becoming that person that you envisage yourself to want to be. And that's our quote of the day for this morning. From our quote of the day, we zoom in straight into our word of the day, and it's what we do every morning to help you improve your vocabulary. Learn a new word every day so that when you are talking to people, depending on the situation at hand and the sentence that you want to construct, you have a new word to fix in there instead of the same old boring words. So let's take a look at our word of the day.
Today's word is O-U-T-R-E, and the E has an accent. Outre. It's an adjective. What does it mean?
Well, Nurain, outre means unusual, strange, and shocking, sometimes in a humorous way. I think you can give us an example, right?
Sure. Many journalists couldn't believe the EC's outre decision of limited media at collation centers. Outre.
So that's a new word to add to your vocabulary, outre. So the next time you want to describe something that is strange, something that is shocking, sometimes in a very humorous way, you can use that word. Instead of saying, oh, this is very strange and shocking, you can say, that's very outre, you know. That's our word of the day. All right, it's a beautiful Thursday morning. We zoom in straight into our video of the day. When we return, we've got Inside Out coming up. So let's enjoy some music and return with the rest of the show. Video. era. You saw Aluguin Tuguin. A lot of you loved that video by Keche, and of course dovetailing into fuse with the Azonto fever. You know, I don't remember the last time I saw people dancing Azonto. Today you are seeing different dances. I don't even know the names of some of the dances that you are seeing today, but those days there used to be a lot of Azonto. It's a Thursday, so it's nice that we throw back to all of that. Well, time now for Inside Out. So on Inside Out today, we just want to address one particular issue that has got to do with the upcoming December 7 election. You know, the key role that the media plays when it comes to elections. On election day, if you turn on your TV or you turn on your radio and you have no updates from the media as far as the elections are concerned, it will be a source of worry for you. Let's say you wake up in the morning and you tune into your favorite TV station, GHOne television. We are covering the elections. Voting has ended. Counting has started. And GHOne TV is not giving you any updates from the Constituency Collation Center or from the Regional Collation Center. How are you going to feel about that? How are you going to feel about that? Well, the Electoral Commission is saying that they want to limit access to media at the regional collation centers and the constituency collation centers, right? This is what the EC is doing. So there is a memo which has been sent to staff of the Electoral Commission, and it is instructing staff at the district and regional levels to allocate quotas to media houses for accreditation at collation centers. Now, EC's directive permits only 8 media outlets at each constituency collation center and 12 at the regional collation centers. And according to the Electoral Commission, this limitation is intended to ensure orderliness, but obviously it's going to raise a lot of concerns, because if the EC should strive to achieve one thing, it is to position itself in a manner that everybody will see that they are conducting their affairs in a very credible and transparent manner. And if everything is going to be credible and transparent, access to the media has to be granted so that the media can cover everything that is going on. Of course, the EC has done well by allowing the media to cover. In fact, we don't think that the EC can stop the media from covering the elections and what goes on. But at collation centers, a lot of people believe that sometimes some funny business can happen. And so in the spirit of transparency, in the spirit of making sure that everybody doesn't believe that something untoward is going on, let us not limit or restrict media access. Grant accreditation to as many media houses as you possibly can, so that everybody can report on the same things that are going on. I mean, at the district level, at the constituency level, we know that there is plurality of the media. So many radio stations, so many TV stations, each and every single one of them have their reporters, and each and every single one of them would want to give their various radio stations and TV stations their own data. I don't think any media man would want to rely on what another media house is doing when they could have had the opportunity to actually be there themselves to report on what was going on, right? What if the other media house that they are relying on to give them that information is reporting wrong figures? What if we are Star FM, we are GHOne TV, we've not been allowed access to the Regional Collation Center or the Constituency Collation Center, and then we have to depend on, let's say, X radio station or Y TV station that has been given the accreditation by the EC to be at the Constituency Collation Center. And X reports that maybe the reporter misses some of the numbers and says that, oh, for this constituency, GHOne of constituency, NDC had 2,004 and MPP had 3,081. And then, because we are not there, this is what the reporter there has told us, and so we take it because we've not been given access. And then we also come and report, oh, according to this, MPP has 2,004, NDC has 3,001. And then it turns out that, the reporter made a mistake. It was rather 2,054, and it was rather 3,000. So because of that, we have also reported wrong figures. But if our reporters were also there, we can also cross-check and be sure, because we are there, we can see, our cameras are there, we can capture and see the numbers at the collation center and report to you accurately. So the Electoral Commission should come again on this. I don't think that access should be restricted so much that you have only 8, at the collation centers at the constituency level and only 12 at the regional collation center level. In the spirit of more transparency, right? In the spirit of more transparency, allow the media access to be able to cover this. And I believe that this is something that the Ghana Journalists Association will pick up, that the Ghana Independent Broadcasters Association will pick up as well, because we understand that the Electoral Commission is engaging with the GHOne and the GIBA, that's the Ghana Independent Broadcasters Association, to iron out some of these things, because it's not sitting well with a lot of media houses who will feel excluded from getting access to reports at crucial places like the collation centers, right? And so that's what we'll do for Inside Out this morning. So it's time for court today. Murtala Inusa is here in the studio. Murtala, good morning.
Good morning, Lantam. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. I was just listening to the point that you were making about the EC giving limited access to media houses who intend to cover the elections.
Yeah.
I mean, the main reason we are there is to be the eagle eye for the public, to ensure that whatever happens there is reported. I'll share an experience with you. Sometime in 2016, I managed to cover the Katamanso constituency, and an incident happened at one point in time during the collations. In fact, that was the second time that I had to spend the whole night at the constituency, and it wasn't easy. Sometimes where you have to even put your head, you have to find something, chalk and lay your head and all that. Sometimes you can't even sleep because you need to capture the moment and all that. So at some point in time during the collations, there was a report. We were there, and then the police officers came out and was said, who is from this very media house? And everyone was like, there was nobody here, also nobody here. Then they started to play a recording to us. And the report was such that there was a ballot snatching at that particular collation center. Apparently when there was nothing of that sort. Now, they now have to find a way. When they got to the reporter who put out that report, apparently he wasn't on the ground. And he said that somebody informed him about that. So that is the danger the EC.
Somebody informed him.
Yes, somebody informed him. This is what is happening there. When he was
no
not
ballot
there,
had been snatched.
no ballot has been snatched.
So if somebody else was not there and was relying on that person to say a ballot had been snatched,
then there's a problem. So interestingly, later on the person came in and the police found out. I said, did you report this? He said, yes. Where did you get your information? And he has to say that, oh, somebody here informed me. Then call your radio station or your TV station and tell them what you have reported is not right. So instantly, he was compelled to make a call, and they have to correct that. And you see the dangers of what has happened. So if you were there, you hear what you hear, you capture what is said, and then you can put it out. So the EC probably would have said that those who have been accredited should be those who should have access to whatever places that is there, instead of saying that the media will be restricted. That is very dangerous one that the EC is coming out with, and it needs to be resolved as quickly as possible.
So I'm sure the EC would allow more access to more media houses because this is something which is raising a lot of eyebrows. But let's get into the details of the issues in court today, shall we? So this morning,
yes,
I hear you want to talk about
mentorship, right?
Yes, an enhanced mentoring program, which is being spearheaded by the Chief Justice. What's all that about?
So let me ask you a question. At the time that you were in secondary school, how were you encouraged? How were you inspired by some, in fact, big people, institutions, persons that you look up to? How are you getting inspired with situations like that? Do you have people come to your school to talk to you?
Sometimes, people will come to the school, they'll gather the students at the assembly hall, and then these people will come and speak to us about this or about that. So sometimes when they speak, you get inspired by some of the things that they say to want to follow in their footsteps.
Yes, so the judiciary, in fact, when the Lady Chief Justice retired, Justice Georgina Wood became the Chief Justice, in fact, the first female Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana. She came out with an initiative, Chief Justice Mentorship Program, where young people are mentored, young students are mentored, senior high school are mentored, and in fact, they are enlightened on all issues relating to the judiciary, career path that you can for those who are interested in taking issues of the judiciary very seriously. So they are taken through all the levels of the court, they are schooled and all that. So successive Chief Justice, when they come, they also make sure. So it is an annual event. So every year, all students, some selected students will come to the Supreme Court. Justices of the Supreme Court, High Court, Court of Appeal will share experiences with them, and some of them get inspired. As we speak, some have been called to the bar. Those who started with Justice Tudura Wood, some of them have even been called to. Some are lawyers and all that. So it is an inspiring program. And guess what? When the ladies Chief Justice came, Justice Gertrude Araba Esaba Saki Tokonu took over as the Chief Justice. She has added some models. She has improved the system. And by way of improving the system was to form Chief Justice clubs and some selected senior high schools. So, for instance, the Accra High, the one just opposite our office here. They have a
senior
high school. They have one. Then you go to Chemu Senior High School, there's also one. There are some Kayayes who have also had the benefit to be part of this mentorship program. Some of them have been, in fact, we speak, there are some of them who are giving testimony. Some are University of Ghana, some are GIJ, and all of that. Schooling and stories that they were sharing is very, very intriguing, very emotional moment. A lady was yesterday telling us about how she was being forced into early child marriage, and she has to run away, came to Accra, be part of this mentorship program, and now she is a very inspired person. She's going to school and learning a lot of things, and she's been. So yesterday, the launch of the Chief Justice Enhanced Mentorship Program was launched by the Chief Justice, Gertrude Saki Tokonu. And as you can see on your screen, there are a lot of Supreme Court judges, Court of Appeal judges, and of course, persons within the judiciary and the students from the schools who are being used as to pilot the exercise were there yesterday for the launch. And what is expected to happen is that there's a moot court competition that will be crowned today. They have started. So we'll see Kayayes, these are called Orange Girls. We'll see these students from all the finalists come to the Supreme Court today to perform. It's more like sit down like lawyers or what happened in the court setting. There will be a judge, there will be party from one side, so they are going to, it will be a moot court for them to come out of what they have inside them so that they get inspired more, and then they are able to choose their career path. And also yesterday, during the launch, they had the opportunity to visit some of the courts to witness court proceedings. And after that, they had some open forum where they asked questions about some of the things that they saw in court and why, especially the lawyers who wear the wig, the judges who wear the wig, why you go to court and you have to bow before the judge and before all those things. So they had moment to clarify those issues and all that. But let's hear from the chairperson of the Chief Justice Monitoring Program, speaking when the Enhanced Chief Justice Mentorship Program was being launched. Justice Professor Ankuchede, what she has to say about this very program.
We have inaugurated 5 justice clubs in 5 schools, including St. Mary's Senior High School, SOS, Accra High School, and the Lantam. Now, the object of these clubs again is to mentor the students, take them through various principles of law, including human rights, understanding basic guidelines that should help them throughout their life. And then in collaboration with UNFP, we also formed the Justice Club with the Orange Girls, ordinarily known as the Kaya. Now the UNFP has been working with the judicial service for all this while to encourage the Orange Girls and get them to understand that they don't have to be where they are forever. Now the object of forming this Justice Club is also to give them some work on in their daily life. They go through a lot once they carry on their daily activities as higher. And we design the curriculum to take them through this process. So at the end of the day, they know their left from right and their rights.
Right. Yes. So Justice Professor Olivia Ankuchede, the chairperson of the Chief Justice Mentorship Program, giving us some perspective. We'll bring you the voice of the sound of the Chief Justice and some of the persons who were there in our subsequent programs and all that. So today, what is expected is that there's a final bit of this program where these students will come together in a moot court competition, in fact, the finals of a moot court competition, and then at the end, the winners will be rewarded. The Kayayes are taking part in this so it's an exciting
former
moment.
Kayayes.
Now they are headquarters. How do you call it?
Former headquarters. They are not headquarters anymore. They used to be headquarters, but they were inspired through the mentorship program.
You are right.
They are in school.
They are in school.
In the university.
Absolutely.
So, all of that.
Yesterday, as part of the program, they distributed bags to them. They gave them the Constitution, a copy of the Constitution each, and it was very exciting. So whatever you are reading, whatever you are quoting, it's good. You can make references to the Constitution and all that. So today, anybody who has the opportunity, be at the Supreme Court, because you're going to see some of these young ones come to the Supreme Court and discharge what they have learned by way of the moot court competition.
It'll be interesting to see.
Very interesting
to see. I know that you bring us an update on this one tomorrow.
Yes.
But let's talk about some of the other cases that came up in court yesterday. The men's gold case with NAM1 came up once again yesterday. What happened in court as far as that one is concerned? For some time now, I've been telling you about the fact that NAM1 has a motion pending, and that motion is expected to have the proceedings at the High Court, the trial state, because he intends to challenge the order of Justice Ernest Owusu Dapaah at the Court of Appeal. And the order was that he has to open his defense to the charges against him by the prosecution, because after the conclusion of the prosecution's case, the witnesses who came to the court were able to make a case. For instance, there's something that they have said that the court will want answers from NAM1. NAM1 said, no, the 9 witnesses who came, I do not think that they've made any case for which reason I have to respond to the charge. So discharge me, acquit me, and let me go. But the court is saying that you need to clear the mind of the court of what those prosecution witnesses have said. He said, no, I'm going to the court. So yesterday, he was supposed to move that particular motion before the court, for the court to make a determination. But unfortunately, yesterday, the court did not sit in relation to this matter. So the case has been adjourned to December 5. And December 5, 2 days, that will be on a Thursday. Friday to December 6. And then Saturday is December 7. Then everybody goes to the post. Goes to the post to go and vote.
Yes.
Okay. So let's talk about some of the cases that we can expect to come up in court today. The public interest case involving Bishop Salifo Amoako and his 16-year-old son who caused the death of 2 people, allegedly. What's up with that case?
Yes, you are right. So the parents have been charged, and then the young boy has also been charged. So in relation to the one that we are talking to you about today, it's about the father, Bishop Elisha Salifo Amoako, the wife, Moha Amoako, and then Linda Owusu Bempa, a sales assistant. These 3 have been charged for permitting an unlicensed person to drive, and they have all pleaded not guilty, and they have been granted bail. Today, before His Honor, Mr. Samuel Bright Aqua, the case will come. Prosecution is expected to file the remaining of their disclosures and witness statement. Once that is done, there will be a case management conference where they will set out the timeline and then make sure that all that is required at this particular point in time, the parties will have it. Then a date will be fixed for the trial to begin. So Salifo Amoako, Bishop Salifo Amoako, the wife, and the sales assistant, the 3 are back in court today in relation to that incident at East Lagos involving the young boy, which led to the death of 2 girls. In fact, the very last time when we went to court, we saw relatives of the deceased family in court for the first time.
All right. So we'll look forward to seeing what happens in that case. Another case which is of public interest. The people who allegedly stole Cecilia Dapaah's money, the maids who allegedly stole Cecilia Dapaah's money from her wardrobe and under her bed and all of that. They are back in court today.
You have evidence to show that was.
I said allegedly.
You said
allegedly.
Under the bed and all that. Is it?
But the special prosecutor said they found money.
That is where you've been hiding some of your money. Anytime I enter your room and look under your bed.
Under the bed and in the obscure places.
Yes, you note that this very case became an issue, a national issue. Madam Cecilia Dapaah has since resigned as a minister, and it's because of this very case. Patience Butchie and then Sarah Eji, those 2 names that I have just mentioned, have played roles as the mates for Madam Cecilia Dapaah and the husband Daniel Osei-Kuffour. That case is still ongoing at the High Court. The trial has begun. The husband of Madam Cecilia Dapaah, Daniel Osei-Kuffour, is in the witness box facing cross-examination. He notes that in the course of the cross-examination, Patience Butchie and his lawyer said that, look, there will be some information that we'll need, and those information are, or details or document are with the OSP, the special prosecutor. And so the court should make an order for the special prosecutor to provide them with interrogations, interviews, and a caution statement that they have taken from Madam Cecilia Dapaah and the husband. The court made a ruling and directed that the OSP should file or should give those documents to the accused person to be able to defend themselves. And the court, after the ruling, at that particular ruling, directed it should be done within 1 week upon service. So if you receive the orders of the court today, it means 1 week from today, you have to make sure that you file that. So today we'll be in court to know more about what have become of the order or the directive to OSP to provide Patience Butchie particularly with a document that the court has said it should be given. Then the cross-examination, we'll know when the cross-examination of Daniel Osei-Kuffour, the husband of Madam Cecilia Dapaah, will resume.
All right, and finally, a case which we haven't heard about for a long time is coming up in court today. It's got to do with Aremeyaw Anas and the documentary he did on Ghana football and corruption in Ghana football called Number 12, which eventually got Kwesi Nyantakyi out of the GFA presidency and being banned, by FIFA and CAF. What's up with that?
So many have raised the issue about the fact that it is that expose that has killed our football. If you are walking into, especially with the recent bad performances of their Black Stars and how things are being managed and all that. So many have said if there's anybody to blame, then you have to blame Anas for that, because Nyantakyi at the time has gotten to a stage where by now probably would have been the CAF president. Probably would have been the president of the Confederation of African Football and all that, even have roles to play in FIFA. And so if a CAF president are coming to play with a referee, and even coming to referee a game between Ghana and then a certain country, and then you are coming to the CAF president's hometown, you do that, definitely you will not come here and mess up. And so they have raised those arguments as to how that one will play in this. So this case involving that particular expose that Anas did is still in court. It led to Nyan Techi losing his job. He has been charged, and then he's facing trial. The trial is yet to commence because the court, Ahmed Swali, who is supposed to be the first or the main witness for the prosecution, we know what has happened to him. He's been killed or he's been murdered. And so Anas volunteered to come and do the testify for the prosecution. But then Nyan Techi's lawyer said that we want to see the face of Anas, so that we know that, yeah, this is the Anas who is making the case, testifying against me. The court made a ruling and said that, look, Anas will marks Nyan Techi in chambers, but when he comes to open court, he will be in the marks. Anas said that, look, that is not healthy for me. Security-wise, it is not nice, and I'm not coming to court to come and testify. Prosecution has challenged that order for Anas to come to court and open or marks Nyan Techi at the Court of Appeal. So that has stalled the trial as at now. And what I do know is that the matter at the Court of Appeal is there. The parties are yet to be served the hearing notice to appear. But because of the fact that the case at the issue is pending at the Court of Appeal, the High Court is now staying there, waiting for the Court of Appeal to take a decision. So today, the parties will be in court, and the court will be informed about what has become of the matter at the Court of Appeal. What has the Court of Appeal said about this whole matter? But what I do know in relation to that is that the parties are here to appear before the Court of Appeal to make their case ahead. And after that, but of course, today it is the day that the court has fixed that they should come. So definitely, once we go to court and there's nothing from the Court of Appeal, automatically the case will be adjourned. But if there is a decision from the Court of Appeal, then the court will base on that decision and then give some directive in relation to that. At some point in time, Justice Marie Louise Simmons has threatened to even discharge Nyan Techi and then the other accused person because of the delay in the whole matter. But because of the pending issue at the Court of Appeal, which is higher than the High Court, the court is deemed fit to wait for the Court of Appeal, and then it will take a decision in this matter. So Nyan Techi will be in court today in relation to the Anas number 12 expose matter.
After how many years?
The incident happened in 2018.
Yeah. After a very long time.
It's almost 6 years.
You know. Anyway, we'll see how all of that plays out in court. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Captain Mutala Inusa.
Do have a great day.
Yeah.
Yesterday you went and took some bankus, fufu somewhere. You didn't give anybody.
Me yesterday I went to eat fufu.
Yes. Now you thought that our lenses are on you.
Where did you see me?
Our lenses are on you. Yesterday.
Where did you see me?
So yesterday, what did you eat?
You yesterday when you were busy sitting here eating the T-Zets, did you give anybody some? Bye-bye. Did you give anybody? I come to talk about somebody eating food. When you were sitting here eating T-Zets, you alone eating T-Zets with the Yemwadi and all of those things. Did anybody? Did you give anybody?
I was fasting.
You fasting where?
Yes, I'm fasting.
Fasting where? We are not in Ramadan. Fasting where? You ate all the thing and licked your fingers.
No,
Don't
run away from the food.
We are outside ball cocktail guso. You were sitting there. You are going to talk about somebody's food. Little Mohammed, she owes us T-Zets.
Hey, what has become of that T-Zets?
She owes us T-Zets.
Lily.
She hasn't been brought.
Lily has not given us our T-Zets.
She's sitting there.
Hey, Lily.
Promised us T-Zets. 2 years.
Yes.
Say T-Zets need to wash on
in my diary is 4 years. Yours have 2 years.
The 4 years hasn't even yet come. Anyway, thank you very much.
Well, tomorrow we'll ask of our T-Zet from Lily. Tomorrow is Friday. A very nice day to eat T-Zets.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned. We're bringing you the newspaper headlines. Dispatch newspaper, there is no way an election in Ghana can be rigged. That's according to the Electoral Commission. The EC's message is on the back page. So read the EC's message on the back page of the Daily Dispatch. NDC likely to review enlistment into security services if Alan K. was rude to Kufuor. Hackman Owusu-Agyeman speaks. The military will only act on a request from the police. That's the Ghana armed forces speaking, and it's got to do with the elections. I'm pretty sure this is in relation to one of the military officers saying that if they are called, they'll come and beat you. Daily Guide, Bagbin puts Parliament in cooler. Election 2024, military will be at flashpoints. That's according to the task force. Baumia outdoors 100 electric buses. Nana thanks Utumfor. And Cocoboard adopts soilless seed production technology. All right, moving on from the Daily Guide to the Chronicle. Bagbin declines request to recall House. It is possible electric buses start operations in Accra. Election 2024, whistleblowers to get between 1,000 and 20,000 Ghana cedis, and Alan Cash bangs on support of women and youth. Daily Graphic, Development Bank, AGI, sign MOU to bolster garments and textile industry. Pursue actions that will sustain the nation's peace. That's according to Tugbe Afede. At the Graphic, National Development Series 2024 elections will be the best of ever. 97% eligible citizens on voters register. And Springfield Afina Field appraisal confirms oil flow. And COA Global Peace Mission, Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center partner to promote peace and security. So that's Daily Graphic. December 7 elections, accept verdicts of Ghanaians, Asante Hene advises candidates. Government to spend 57 million annually on free dialysis beginning December 1. And election security task force introduces rewards. So all that on Ghanaian Times. Baumia unveils electric buses to modernize Ghana's public transport system. EC engages GHOne and GIBA on access to collation centers. Ban toy guns on election day. Chairman Coker to IGP. Police chase car dealer. NDC set sights on security sector. So all that is on the Crusading Guide. Daily Post. North Die, Godwin, Egbajo, and 2 other top NPP executives defect to the NDC and vow to ensure resounding victory for Mahama and Joycelyn Tete. PNC declares support for NDC ahead of elections. So, Mahama demands retraction and apology. You would see that Mahama demands retraction and apology from newspapers over false claims. So that's the Daily Post. Moving on from the Daily Post. Daily Statesman, electric buses, the story is there. Baumia is Ghana's good and faithful servant. Bagbin rejects Majority Caucus request to recall Parliament. And NHI to spend millions on free dialysis for 1,200 patients. So that's the Daily Statesman newspaper there. So that's it for the newspaper headlines. I'll always remind you that my suit is by The Authentic Man. Call The Authentic Man and get a nice suit. Call him on 0243029494 and get a great looking suit to make you look awesome. Stay tuned. When we return, we still got a whole lot more coming up for you here on GH Today. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back to the show. This is still GH Today here on GHOne TV. My name is Lily Mohammed. Let's bring you a documentary titled Protect the Protest. Kankatsi Amnesty International.
What you just heard was actually one of the leaders of the demonstration backing out orders to the protesters. Yes, and I'm not drivers running here to
Oh my God, there's blood oozing out of the gentleman, and all you see is policemen pouring water on him.
It's a situation that has degenerated. It's been
You have no heart? Are we not human beings too?
That is why we need this constitution change now.
Patient at the Gumfonochi Teaching Hospital stranded following strike by doctors who alleged forceful ejection.
You feel bad. Why are the police preventing the citizens from demonstrating?
Beat me, kill me, but you will not stop me from speaking. The Ghana will work again.
The Ghana police is breaking the law and denying us our right of simple movement.
If he didn't know how to fix the economy, why did he run for office?
We want to see people prosecuted. We want to see money taken back. We want to see corruption dealt with in a clear way. We, the people, are the ones with the power. The more we complain, the more things will be done.
Police have been arresting us all the time, so this is not news.
Bangladesh. Ghana. All over the world, the people are rising up. So much that 2023 was unofficially named the Year of Protests. But protests aren't a new phenomenon anywhere, and certainly not in Ghana. Protests have always been a way for the people to register their displeasure, snowball change, and raise awareness for important issues and let muffled voices be heard.
I've been involved in perhaps all the major protests that have happened in the last 30 or so years, but in different capacities. The ones that were organized by the National Union of Ghana Students against the PNDC rule, I was a key leader. One of the most unfortunate incidents was the protest that led to the shooting of our sister Vada Ofori and Veronica Dompre on the IPS campus, now UPSA.
There have been all the time attempts by governments to make it difficult for people to demonstrate. They think they can buy loyalty by stopping demonstrations. It doesn't work. It has never worked that way for any government. But, you know, governments and politicians being who they are, they rarely learn lessons from the past.
It's not because I hate you, but I have to tell you, things are not working. Why are we breathing all this dust? Why is the water not working? Why do our light bills keep going up? It's not about animosity, it's about facts. Is it true or not that these things are not happening? What are we doing about it?
There were a number of protests that Uncle Kwesi Pratt organized by himself, and these were long before the Preko marches came up.
Now, the earlier demonstrations, the small demonstrations, the one-man demonstration, the 5 people demonstration, and so on, basically was meant to raise awareness, amongst our people that there was a need to embark on the path of democratic transition. We had the Rawlings regime in power from 1982 all the way up to 1991. It was pursuing neoliberal policies which were not in the interest of our people, and these protests were meant to serve as a focal point of mobilization in order to aid the transition, to democratic governance.
In the 1890s, when the British government wanted to take over ownership of the lands in this country, the chiefs, particularly along the coast, and the lawyers at the time, Mensa Saba and others, protested against that. And out of that was formed the Aborigines Rights Protection Society. Now, this protest was very significant in our history and for our independence.
Of course, we know our independence was won on the foundation of protest. So we have the 1948 disturbances where the veterans went to the World War, came back. The promises that were made them were not honored by the colonial authorities. So they embarked on several protests. Osajifo himself embarked on protests and was arrested, detained, and was released before independence and all that.
Nkrumah leaves James Fort Prison freed by the governor as an act of grace on the eve of the inauguration of the new constitution.
So you could see that protests are designed not for people who are interested in being unlawful. It is actually a lawful activity to protest.
This thinking that the only way in which we can achieve social change if we get elected, I absolutely disagree with that thinking. That we think that there's a lot more social role that can be played and a much more social progress that can happen if the entirety of society is much more engaged in the business of holding people to account. One of the ways in which law operates is that it tries to find a remedy for every problem you have. So for instance, if somebody slaps you, you go to the police to be able to seek some remedy in that sense. Or somebody breaches a contract, you go to the courts. The court gives you a particular remedy. But a protest is not a defined administrative remedy for any wrong you're suffering. But yet every democracy guarantees protest. Why? Because some of the most significant social advancement, the abolition of slavery, giving women the right to vote, independence, those things did not come about through administrative procedure. They came through protest.
The first thing we need to know is that demonstration is a human right, and that is acknowledged, guaranteed, and protected by the 1992 Constitution. There is only one limitation that we have put on it, which is to notify the police for purposes of public order.
But it's important to understand that leaders, national leaders, political leaders and all, always want to prevent protests. Always. And that trend continues. One of the machinations indeed was the introduction of the public order law, which I think is an affront to the 1992 Constitution. Now, the public order law says that for public events, you need to give the police 5 days notification. The route you are going to use for the protest, an estimate of the number of participants and so on and so on.
But this kind of thing is used arbitrarily by the police to stop certain demonstrations. But when that happens, you can see that it is not the independent decision of the police.
And when there's disagreement between the police and the organizers, the matter then goes to the High Court for determination.
So it's a balance. But when the balance is going to tip, it must always tip in favor of the stability of the nation. And I'm very careful in saying that, because sometimes the people in power will say for national stability. And no, it's not that. It's just for somebody's personal sense of peace.
And there's one particular High Court judge who actually stated in the ruling that every demonstration is potentially violent, and therefore demonstrators need police permission to be able to demonstrate. I mean, it's a clear affront to the provisions of the 1992 Constitution.
I can just hope and expect that every time any restriction on the exercise of rights comes before a court, the court has to look at the circumstances, the situation, the objective, and what is reasonable. Because in these rights matters, there's always a nuance, but the nuance has to be such that it does not stop protest.
If I have the right to go on protest and your reason for denying me the protest, for example, is that there's Christmas, then there is a certain level of misunderstanding of the thing called rights. And that is why the Supreme Court in as early as I think 1993 or 94 thereabout, MPP versus IGP, that very important case. And the issue was simple. Before that case, the law was that when you want to go on protest, you should apply and get a permit from the police commander before you go. So that was the case, and the court said no. It agrees with the plaintiff that this is a right, and to the extent that it's a right, I don't need anyone's permission to be given to me before I go on protest. Takes the thing out of the realms of what? Right, to something of privilege, at someone's discretion.
In law and in jurisprudence, these rights are not even considered as rights that are conferred. These are rights that is innate. You are a human being, therefore you have the right to disagree, because test is what? You're disagreeing. Of course, there will be parameters within which to exercise that. You cannot pick up a stick and go and bash somebody on the head in protest, because that person also has a right to life. So any system that does not assure it, and that also does not allow channels for disagreeing, that is also huge flaw.
Who often mobilized people and protests, particularly in the area of economic issues, was Ni Kobna Boni. The newspapers at the time called him Boycott Hene. And one of these protests is what brought about the expression Awam. Awam stands for Association of West African Merchants. And so the boycott slogan was Awam people are cheats. Boycott Awam. So then Awam, which originally is an acronym, became synonymous with Azan, cheating. So the 1930s, 1940s were times of our people, our elders protesting for their freedom.
Of issues that will push workers to go on strike or demonstrations or protest, however we choose to call the actions that workers may embark on. But part of the discussion should also be centered around the fact that first, workers are citizens, and then they are workers. So issues that affect citizens generally will affect them as workers, and then issues relating to happenings in the labor market will also be something that will cause them to hit the street. Like, how much are we earning to pay electricity tariffs that are so high? How much are we earning to pay water bills that are so high? How much are we earning, to be able to pay our kids' school fees with inflations going up and other things? All those are conditions that may lead to workers going on strike or taking actions.
Yes, I'm fair as well. I'm on to sing it. I'm on to some way. Tell me, I did you saw us. Yes, I want to hear. Nice able for Abba. Nice, I say, Yakase, you have a good demonstration. Tassaming in Anna. Nipa formed on Quajman. Almost someone going on my Quajmana. I'm not Ghana, so I'm home for so.
When these happen, it doesn't just affect the national government, it affects private sector, because labor unions organize in the private and then government sector, as well as informal sector, which includes our market and the drivers on the street as well.
After waiting for several hours without being attended to,
Ishmael had to return home with a sick dad.
They told us that you should come today. When we came, they say the doctors went to strike, so we are going back to Western North.
If you look at our history, both what survives of the long pre-colonial period, even before the establishment of formal colonial rule, women were always there in the positive action campaign. Some women went to prison, and yet the way we teach our history, we don't bring these things out at all. So women have always been there, they've been part of it, they have strategized.
In the 90s, I participated in a protest by women seeking protection during a period when there was a serial killer.
There was a lot of public sympathy. Now, of course, there was also a pushback from the regime, because one of the things that we were also highlighting was that clearly the state security couldn't be very good for these acts to be perpetrated on women. We had some demands. We wanted the IGP, the then IGP, sacked. Soon after, the IGP called me because I knew him, and now he was calling me, oh, my sister, we don't have vehicles for patrol. Anyway, he was sacked. The police started cooperating with us, and when they had leads about who the possible murderer might be, they called us to brief us about it. When the perpetrator was arrested, the killing stopped.
By 7:30, another foreign young match the same thing. Sana into bedroom rebia. Say, family free home. One day, and a year who say, Yabe demonstration, Aqua Castle. Say, almost a year to free her. Baby, Papa, so Maya.
One of the traditional modes of protest is for a woman to take off her clothes. It's almost like seeing your mother's nakedness is the ultimate form of insult and curse.
Like I see, you be naked. And I pay you for one because say demonstration. My naked. Yes, I beg you a man money.
Sometimes they even turn around and make it worse when they are naked and they bear their bottom at you. That's the kind of worst insult.
So if not because of the demonstration, who are these women here? We are nobody. Because of the demonstration, that is why they are allowed us to stay here.
Lights were constantly off all the time. I remember one evening I went on Twitter and I tweeted, Doomsday must stop. And I realized it was trending. It trended for a week. And I decided to rally my friends together, go out there and let our voices be heard. And that's exactly what I did.
What I'm asking for is just light. If you can't give us the water, you can take the water. You can buy the water. But it's just give us the water. We don't want to destroy our country. All we want to do is just fix the economy, fix the lights, and we have a prosperous country. That's all we're asking.
Big companies with millions of cities like Papanko, Akotombo Textiles, and so on that have been shutting down their operations, have been complaining about Doomsday for years.
One thing that I have noticed about online protests is it puts pressure on the decision makers. It might start off as just a couple of tweets or a couple of Instagram posts, but when it starts growing like wildfire and it starts getting viral, they have no option but to succumb to the pressure, because then now everyone is talking about it, all media houses are reporting it, and sometimes it sparks global interest. And at that point, as a decision maker or as a policy maker, you would have no option but to either listen to the people
or take action to support what they are doing.
The BBC came into the country to cover Occupy Jolobi protest, not because somebody sent a press invitation for them to come. They noticed the conversation online and they came to Ghana to cover the protest. And that is what social media has done and will be doing. So it's a beautiful game of chess. Depending on how you use social media, it could help make your country look good. At the same time, it could also give your country a very bad PR.
Police officers now arresting some of the protesters who came here and said they're going to protest despite police preventing them.
One of the protests that you can arguably say was driven heavily by the youth of Ghana as a result of the conversations that were had on social media, and for some reason there was this wake-up call, and what I witnessed in terms of the near perfect situation in day 2 and day 3 and the misdemeanor of security agencies or security personnel like the Ghana police and how they manhandled human beings. It was just an eyesore moment, and what I experienced on ground, I saw wickedness.
That was my first demonstration as a journalist. So it was usual when we gathered at the designated point, I saw police actually arresting some people.
Initially, I wasn't particularly interested in Occupy Jolobi. I wouldn't have gone anywhere near it. But my interest became high when the previous day I saw a public notice. And the notice is so embarrassing in the sense that they have filed an application for an injunction and are seeking to serve it on the conveners, and therefore the public should not attend the demonstration. As a lawyer, I couldn't accept that as a proper exercise of police power. And what even got me more incensed about the whole thing is that the notification was sent to the police way ahead. So they had almost like 1 month. Actually, they have the law says 5 days, but they had more than that to go to court and do all this. But they chose the afternoon before the day of the demonstration as the day to make the application, which shows a lot of bad faith and dictatorial sentiments.
At the Accra Regional Headquarters, I saw police officers beating people I will later get to know are protesters and bystanders. My first instinct was to take my phone and record. And I think about 15 seconds into the recording, I was surrounded by police officers, numbering more than 6. They started stamping my feet with their boots. And then there was this female police officer also hitting my chest, like, bring the phone. She kept hitting my chest, bring the phone, bring the phone. I also said I won't. And then I hid my phone in between my thighs. And they all reached for the phone in between my thighs, pulling me.
They ripped my dresser pass and I'm on TV in my bra. In my bra. Not that I wanted to, but because these Ghana police service are irrational and unprofessional, and frankly, that colonial British method needs to stop.
Our police need to be taught how to be keepers of the peace rather than to be a police force. We used to call them police force, the days when they were bashing our heads when we were students for calling them zombie. But under this constitution, they're not even called a force. It's what? Exactly that, a service to the people. No matter how much power you think you have, if you go wielding it unnecessarily, you're simply going to force a certain reaction from the people.
So during that period, they were waiting to bail protesters. So there was one lawyer who came and he said, she's a journalist, leave her alone. They pounced on the lawyer, gave him slaps, then put him behind a pickup.
We were all here, and then we saw on social media people being picked up. Some of the things were recorded live. People being beaten, jumped into a bus, driven off, their phones being snatched from them. So we were on standby. And because we had already done that arrangement, they were able to represent them in all the police stations that they were taken to. Getting access, even to the police yard, was hell.
Growing up, the orientation is the police is your friend. That has actually changed. Anything can happen to you in the hands of the police.
I remember in one of the demonstrations we had the hot water tankers from the police being, splashed on those who demonstrated and protested, and I was part of that.
This is wrong. This is totally wrong. Individually, they are very, very fantastic, intelligent, well-meaning people. So until you have them one-on-one conversation, you would think that the police service is a monster.
We should continue to remember those demonstrators are human beings like us, and therefore we should treat them with all the respect, the civility, and the dignity that each and every human being deserves. In effect, we should treat them the way we would have loved to be treated if we were on the other side. If anybody needs help the person, and do that with a sense of humility and humanity.
After such a promising start, what a disappointing outcome.
Another tear gas! All of these people, they were not part of the protesters. Many of them had to run here to pour water on your faces. Tell me, where exactly were you before they fired the tear gas?
I had a problem with my Ghana card, and I had to go to GHOne to work on it. So me, as a matter of fact, I'm not part of the protesters, but you see what I'm going through, and I'm so scared.
Were you part of the protesters?
No, please.
This is a marketplace, and the activity that is going on there, it's not everybody that is in it. So for them to have thrown tear gas into public in the marketplace like this, so burning, some serious burning sensation in the nose, in the eyes, and all over the face, I don't think it's the best. The lady fainted here. She could have just died, and I'm not even sure that lady was part of this demonstration.
I come back to this resonating idea that protest won us independence. It made us who we are as a society and as a country. That we ought to be able to understand its political, socio-cultural value and its historical significance to us as a people and how we move forward.
So if we could connect those kinds of pre-colonial, anti-colonial, and post-colonial actions, I think it would help to give us a fuller history of ourselves, allow us to also understand the different kinds of protests, and the roles that different people have played.
Some protests are by writing letters and getting a number of people participating in presenting such a protest.
Some people protest through their music, through their spoken word artistry, even in their teaching,
Fellow Ghanaians, I come in peace, listen to me please. Give me power, I go change everything is again.
That one is all you need, but more often than not, people either underestimate the power of one, or they seem to be in a minority.
We don't need any discussion on this. Drop that chamber! Drop that chamber! Drop that chamber! No chamber in this country! I will say what has to be heard.
Do we need a new parliament in this country at this time?
We lack the courage to tell them the truth.
It's not about the number of people. It's more about the issue. It's more about the conviction that one is enough.
There's this saying that there is a job that needs to be done, and someone definitely needs to do the job, but everyone assumes anyone can do it, so no one ever gets it done.
You go feed to fish and catch
2014, I began to feel in very direct ways the effects of some of the decisions that happen in Ghana's political space. For instance, I had started making work that spoke about society in maybe a different light already, but it had to become political graphic art because I've seen how actors in the political field, have used art, sometimes I say against the people. So it's also a very viable approach for the people to use art against that establishment, either to question it or to deconstruct it, to challenge it, to test boundaries. There's so much art can do. Like I said, there was a job that needed to be done and somebody had to do it. And maybe that someone became me.
Rest assured, nobody is intimidating you. Allow traffic to flow, but people are also suffering.
It is important that the same adherence to rules that we demand of government, we as organizers and protesters also keep to the same rules. I do not think that it helps to overly inconvenience society by the methods that we use in our protest. So for example, if we block the road in a manner that makes, say, a sick person traveling in an ambulance difficult to secure medical health, then we are destroying from within what we set out to protect from without. That the state or anybody in power is going to facilitate your protest to force them to act in the ways that you believe is good for society. Because of democratization and the party politics, partisanship conflates public positioning on issues. And so it is either possible for a protest to be hijacked by the political opposition, or that a government can use partisanship as the excuse. And therefore, when they are dealing with protesters, they tend to deal with them as if they are dealing with political opponents.
I also noticed that there were some unscrupulous persons that were planted amongst us to create some form of chaos and provocation so that the police would go out of character. So when you get yourself in the positions where you are bought to be planted amongst well-meaning Ghanaians trying to fight for a better life for you, then you need to check yourself.
One of the ways in which we decided to purposefully mobilize is that we don't want leadership. And the reason why we don't want leadership is that if you look at past protests, those individuals that elect those protesters use that as a vehicle to project themselves into the status quo politics. But the absence of leadership does not mean the absence of structure. We have marshals that we are trained, that were reflectors, that police for us the protests, that ensure that the interaction between police and protesters do not happen.
They are marching towards the Jubilee House, and it looks like there has been a standoff between them and the police.
In 1995, when we organized the Kumipreku demonstration, people died. They were killed. They were shot and killed by agents of the government then. Now, one of those who died was Ahunu Honga, a student, a young student. Now, today, I'm just imagining a situation where the family of Ahunu Honga is observing what is happening in our country today and realizes that some of the people who organized that demonstration are in government and are doing exactly what Ahunu Honga and others lost their lives, for. I mean, it's incredible. And I don't see how our politicians manage to walk about with their conscience intact.
Because of the law, that's why I'm here. Yeah, what are you going to? You got to sleep on empty stomach while they get satisfied.
Protests yield results. They do yield results. And across time and space, we have seen it. Whether you are talking about the Million Man March by Martin Luther King or the recent protests that the young people are organizing. If it had no impact, the state would ignore it. So when you see the state responding, either through the security apparatus like the police or public statements by political leaders or any such thing, it should tell you that it's hit a nerve.
So we are appealing. Come back to work.
Number two is that it has a way of chipping off the popularity and sometimes even the credibility of the managers of the state over time. In a democracy, that can create electoral deficit over time.
I give you one particular example, the injustice against the 499 law students who took the entrance exam. I was part of that demonstration, and I can tell you, we went to parliament, we put in our petition. At the end of the day, these 499 students were taken into the professional law program. That is part of the successes of demonstrations in this Fourth Republic. There have been some taxes that have been abolished because people went out on the streets to protest.
To the people of Kenya who have said loudly that they want nothing to do with this Finance Bill 2024, I concede, and therefore I will not sign the 2024 Finance Bill.
The question is, has the parliamentary chamber been built? It's been how many years now? It hasn't been built. So if that is not resource, then I don't know what else may constitute resource.
In Namibia, a young woman was killed, and they launched a protest called Shut It All Down. So many people took to the streets to demand from the government to take action, and they got the government to commit to solving this issue and creating a sex offenders list, for example, in Namibia. And we have Black Lives Matter, we have George Floyd. These raise awareness to issues of racism, issues of dictatorship, press freedom, abuse of women's rights, and it can push governments to create change.
Do so we see change.
Protest is inalienable to humans. It's part of our DNA. And so to criminalize protest is to criminalize our being.
It takes away the cynicism, oh, nothing is going to change, because if people don't protest, if they feel that they do not have that right or that nothing can change, this is really an incitement to violence.
Free expression is important for those who rule us and those who take decisions about our now and our future to know what people really feel and think. Would you rather have a civil war than have people marching with their feet on the streets?
In fact, history is a constant reminder that the people, the masses will always win, no matter how long it takes. So anyone who is suppressing protests is indirectly calling for something more harmful or more disruptive than protest.
And we believe sincerely that our protest is keeping this democracy alive. Because so many people have told us about how they were so angry about something in the state of the country and participated in a protest, and they felt that they have done something. The more willingness to engage in a democratic process, whether attending a protest or donating to protest movement, those initiatives of mobilizing citizens towards delivering social and public goods, that evolve out of a protest culture naturally.
And so protecting the protest is the collective and individual mandate of all.
Meanwhile, Amnesty International Ghana has condemned recent violence and killings of protesters in Sudan, of which
Protect the Protests is actually a global campaign that Amnesty International launched because there's been a huge increase in protests across the world, and we all know the right to protest across the world is under threat. So it was very important that we launch a campaign on this so that we find out how to protect protesters and to what extent can security forces also protect protesters. People need to understand the human rights violations during a protest. Are we committing human rights violations during protests? Are people's rights being taken away from them? So we will train our staff, first of all, to see how best to observe protests when they do happen in Ghana. We're also going to train persons who are likely to have protests, and then we'll also engage with the security agencies. That's also very important because we want to know, is Ghana following the international standards for peaceful assembly? So this is something we're really going to engage and ensure that the police are not abusing protesters but protecting them as they should be.
Protests, which led to the death of Sergeant Ajete and so on, provided an impetus for the attainment of national independence. Today, we are in this bourgeois democratic order because of the various protests which was organized over the years, because of the sacrifices that people made in speaking out. Majority viewpoints today were not majority viewpoints yesterday. It is mobilization, it's agitation, it's education and so on, which moves ideas from the minority frame into the majority frame. And I think that protests are exceedingly important for any democratic order, even the bourgeois democratic order.
Because sometimes the thing people protest about, the stance of the protester, the position of the protester, might one day become the norm.
Good afternoon. Yes, the letter we brought concerning the documentary we are working on, it's been a while, but we've not received any feedback.
You're welcome back to the show. This is still GH Today here on GHOne TV. My name is Lily Mohammed. A while ago, we brought you a documentary on protecting the protests put together by Amnesty International. I've been joined on studio by the country director, Genevieve Patterson. Hi, Jenny. Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
How are you?
Good, and you?
I'm awesome.
Great.
Let's talk about you and what you do before we dovetail into the documentary. You champion women's rights, gender rights. Over the years, where have we gotten to in terms of protecting women and gender rights?
So I've been with Amnesty for about 2 years now. However, I've been working in human rights and gender space for a number of years now. Ghana has a lot of progress to make. We definitely have a long way to go, but I could say that, for example, passing the affirmative action bill is a step in the right direction. We would really hope that implementation is smooth. The bill requires, for example, a gender equity committee being set up. So we're hoping that the current Minister of Gender can do that soon as possible so that we can roll out implementation. So Ghana generally doing okay, but there's so much more we can do in terms of
does it look like we've gone to sleep? Because I think even before the cameras rolled, we're talking about how back in the day you see a lot of ads, you see a lot of bills being posted all over the place about protecting gender rights, protecting the woman. But today, all those things are lost, and we seem to be recording more and more cases.
So I think you have a great point there. Definitely more work needs to be done. I think there's a lot being done on social media where people use their spaces to talk about women's issues, to talk about gender-based violence, and we happen to be in the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. It started on the 25th of November, and it will end 10th of December. So a lot of people come out during this period to talk about rape, domestic violence, sexual consent, assault, but definitely we can do more, just after the 16 days of activism, we still have to do more. I believe people have taken a different approach, but you're absolutely right. There's maybe that gap in intergenerational transition or learning. We have amazing gender experts. We have amazing women who are very matured in the field of gender, but it is time for them to also partner with the younger generation and kind of hand over the baton, right? So that we can also do a whole lot more. So in women's rights, I mean, Ghana has a long way to go. We looked at witchcraft accusations where the president has yet to assent to the bill. It would have been great for him to do that before he leaves power. It's a very important bill to protect the rights of older women especially, because it's crazy that we think people are in the streets beaten to death because they are accused of being some families bad omen or something. So there's a lot to do, but the laws are being reviewed. I know the Domestic Violence Act has been reviewed. I'm aware the Children's Act has been reviewed as well. So there's work. I always say Ghana has some of the most beautiful, detailed laws, but our issue is but our issue is with implementation. How are we implementing it? How are we getting different generations to understand and to claim their rights, whether they are women, men, boys, or girls? So this is something that Ghana really, really has to work on. And I'm happy that it's 16 days of activism. It's people can come out and really show their support on gender-based violence. So
let's talk about this documentary, Protect the Protest. What informed this decision to put together such a documentary?
So Protect the Protest is a global campaign by Amnesty International. And we here in Ghana, we believed that, getting towards elections, there'll be an increase in demonstrations. So we decided that it was very important that we take up this mantle of campaigning on peaceful assembly in Ghana.
Right.
So we launched the campaign earlier this year.
Okay.
And there are certain aspects we are looking at. For example, we are training our membership. Amnesty International is a membership-based organization. You can be a member if you like. And what we are doing is we are training our membership on protest observation. That is the first thing. How do we observe protests and ensure that, how do we record and document human rights abuses during protests? How do we ensure that, okay, the police did a good job? Did they do a good job? How do we record that along with media? I know a lot of press attend
we cover them a lot, yes.
You cover them completely.
And sometimes we are caught in
exactly, you are caught in the crossfire. So how are we able to document these issues as a human rights organization? So that's the first thing we have started doing. We're also looking on how to be safe during protests. So we're working with trade unions, we're working with groups that are more likely to engage in protests and training them on how to be safe during protests, because most of the time as bystanders, or maybe you don't wear the appropriate clothing during protests. Sometimes you may wear sandals can tear, or slippers during a protest. So we try our best to also, do some public education on safety protocol during protests, but also how to engage with the police if you are picked up. That is also very important. And then lastly, we are trying to look at, we have to always look at the advocacy side.
You mentioned a very critical point.
Yes.
What to do when the police picks you up. We've seen a lot of videos circulating where when a police person or when the police picks up the protesters, the way they conduct themselves. How should protesters conduct themselves? I mean, in the spur of the moment, sometimes somebody is just a bystander, just trying to peep, and then they are picked up.
Yes, so definitely it's, as for, you shouldn't resist arrest. Once they take you, you just remain calm. But once you get to the police station or whatever it is, do not issue a statement until you have legal counsel. So you should request for legal counsel when you get to the police station or on the way there. Do not, it's when you're arrested, they read your rights, that kind of thing. So just ensure that you don't say anything that will implicate you. So it's to remain calm, quiet, do not engage, and just wait for legal counsel. But this is one of the issues that came up in the recent protest of the Stop Galamsey, for example, where for a period of time, protesters were refused legal counsel. They were stretched the time before the police granted them legal counsel. So something like that, you have to do that, and then you're allowed to call a family member or a lawyer. So you should insist that you should be able to call someone so that people know that you've been arrested and taken into custody. So these are the main things you should do should you be picked up during a protest. And then lastly, Amnesty International will be looking at the Public Order Act 1994. And there are some loopholes in the act that the act has been in existence.
Do we need to review it?
Yes, it needs to be reviewed. But that process has to come. We can give recommendations, but it has to come from government so that it follows due process in Parliament. There's one specific area which deals with notifying the police before you go on a demonstration. Now, notifying the police, they say you can notify the police less than 5 days to a protest. However, there's no clause that specifies when the police should get back to you. So most of the time, what happens is that police would go and seek an injunction in court. They can go to the Court of Appeal to seek an injunction on a demonstration and then come back and say due to security reasons you can't have this protest. So that is what is happening. Sometimes you may you've organized everything for 3 months, you've organized your people, you're going on a protest, and then 24 hours to the protest you get a response from the police that we're very sorry, due to security reasons you cannot have this protest. So it curtails on the rights of persons regarding their freedom of expression and civic space. And in Ghana in particular, our civic space is shrinking. So that is why we felt that it was important to look at the history of protests in Ghana through this documentary that was showed just before this session.
Would you say that protests in Ghanaians naturally are receptive to protests?
So I think people love to protest, but because of fear, what is going on right now, you look at the Stop Galamsey now,
the number of people that were picked up.
53 people were arrested in total. And this wasn't even done on one day. It was done on different days. It was even done after the protest. People were picked up after the protest. So it puts fear into people. You also looked at the documentary where some journalists were harassed by the police. Someone had her phone, she had to hide her phone. You have every right to record during an abuse of power, during a protest. You can pull out your phone and record.
But what do we see? I mean, once people pick up their phones to record, then they are harassed, they are abused.
Yes, they are harassed and abused. And I mean, the police should know that you are actually allowed to do a recording if something bad is happening. So for them to try and grab her phone with force is not right. So, you know, Amnesty International, we are engaging with the police, of course. We can't bash them throughout. There are good police out there, and there are some that definitely want to ensure that the rights of citizens are protected. So we've started engagement with the police. For protests in Ghana, it's specifically the formed police units that handle protests in Ghana. And we've officially engaged with them just to find out, you know, reasoning behind certain use of maybe tear gas, water spray, that force, kind of thing, yes. And the use of less lethal weapons during protests, yes. So that we have a long way to go with regarding protests, but it's very important that people feel safe to come out and protest. And I think at this point, I feel less and less people are coming out to the streets. There are different forms of protest. You saw in the documentary that some people use art to protest. You have amazing cartoonists like Tilapia and the likes that, you know, show a form of protest by drawing some of the politicians or, you know, in caricature form, which is very interesting. I really love that kind of protest art. You also have online protests. A lot of protests in Ghana, current trends in protests in Ghana, like the Occupy Julobi house, what happened was it started online and they took to the streets eventually. So a lot of protests do not have to necessarily happen physically where you are walking in the streets, but they can also happen online, which is great. But either way, the rights of persons who are taking part in protests should be protected always.
But you also understand that protests in Ghana very often are chaotic. And so when authorities are apprehensive, don't you think they are right in doing so?
Come again, sorry.
I was asking, a lot of the protests we've seen around are chaotic, have turned chaotic. And so you see authorities very apprehensive towards protests organized in Ghana. Don't you think they have a reasoning?
Wherever a huge crowd is gathered, there's bound to be some misunderstanding, there's bound to be some use of force, right? There's bound to be something that will go wrong. It's human nature. However, the police still have to play a role of ensuring the safety of individuals, but they need to do it in a legal and safe manner regardless. Using aggressiveness, force, pulling persons, it can be dangerous. And use of force should not be aggressive. It should be in a way that protects the citizens of this country.
Sometimes it is the citizens meeting it out to these security personnel.
No, because what happens is that during protests, I'll give an example. During the Black Power movements in the US, you had the protests where they were sitting, the sitting protests in bars and restaurants where black people would sit. And, you know, persons will spit in their faces, persons will try and remove them with force. But you will see that there's a way to use resistance without exerting resistance. So you will see in the videos that people would do this, crouch, and they would refuse to move. You're allowed to do that during protests. It's a form of civil disobedience. Civil disobedience is basically when you protest where the laws in the country are unjust and do not allow you to exercise the right to protest. So you have in that situation, for example, that, you know, people don't exert force, but people resist. And you are allowed to resist during protests. You are allowed to sit and refuse to move, because that is the
You're allowed to resist, but not to exert.
Exactly. Okay. You are not allowed to exert force. And it goes both ways. It goes both ways. So definitely protests, there are so many things that can happen during a protest. But regardless, security forces need to ensure that both sides are secure and that no harm is done during the protest. So something like tear gas, sometimes I believe they decide whether it's necessary or not to throw tear gas into a crowd, to use water spray in a crowd. They decide how the level of
and even rubber
intensity,
bullets.
and rubber bullets. So they decide the intensity of the situation and then they make those decisions. But honestly, sometimes I feel we should avoid using less lethal weapons as much as possible so that we can diffuse the situation without using tear gas and rubber bullets.
In all of this, how can the legal systems protect protesters?
So with the legal systems, first we have to review the Public Order Act, which is very important. That is a first step. And we have to look at the notification. After sending the notification, we need to create a barrier where police have a maximum amount of time to get back to the group of protesters. Because if they can get back to you at any time, this would definitely, how do you organize yourself? I feel it's a tactic used to disorganize protests, to discourage people from protesting. And the thing is, it has brought so much change in Ghana. You know, protests led to our independence. Protests are something that lead to positive change in society. When there are issues of gender-based violence, when there are issues of economic crisis, doomsaw, we come out and protest for change. Sure. You saw during the pension scheme, that the 60 plus, the bondholders, pensioners, they came out to picket. That's also another form of protest where you don't do the march, but you decide you're going to sit at a government entity for the whole day until you get a response from them. It is extremely effective. Protests are extremely effective, and I want to encourage everyone to continue coming out to the streets. Of course, in the right way, notifying the police, but don't be discouraged to come out. We need to come out to the streets. We need to demand our rights. We need to continue to be human rights activists, and we need to demand the change that this country needs to see by coming out to the streets.
A while ago, you mentioned the Phone Police Unit.
Yes.
You said you have engaged the Phone Police Unit. Have you heard from them?
Yes, we had a meeting with them before the Stop Galamsey protest, because we wanted to get an understanding of why the route was not accepted, because most of the time the police do not want persons to pass in front of Flagstaff House. But the issue is previous protests in Ghana, people have passed by Flagstaff House. So is there a reason why, you know, they'll always bring up security reasons. But sometimes the route that you choose determines how impactful the protests are. So sometimes the police will tell you to maybe take a route that is not very useful. I remember during the 16 days of activism, not last year, I think last 2 years, we proposed a route to take so that we educate the public, make noise about gender-based violence. And in fact, the route that was also counter-proposed to us, we felt it would not be of use. There were less people, so in fact, there was very little impact because the street was not busy. You know, but they try to bring out valid reasons where, oh, security issues, maybe they are not enough. But I always think sometimes those are excuses made. I'll give you an example. You know, because when they were taking the protesters to the courthouse, there were more than 100 police available for that. But when it comes to maybe a demonstration and then we need, so they have the resources to provide that protection and to provide a secure route. So my appeal to the police is also to understand that protest is a very important human right, but it's also a way to effect change in society. So when you propose routes that you are not going to have an impact, it defeats the purpose of that. There's another issue that cropped up during the engagement, the Stop Galamsey. Now, after it, we realized that the cells at the police stations are poorly equipped. Some are too small, and what happens is that persons who have been arrested and are
there's overcrowding,
like sardines. There's overcrowding,
poor sanitary conditions,
very poor sanitary conditions when you go to some of the places. So we have another appeal to the Ministry of Interior. What are they doing to make those cells better, to make those conditions better when people are taken into custody? I mean, certain police stations, I must say, because of renovation or due to private funding or investors, they've got nice cells. But others, I mean, it's really, the situation is very depressing and terrible, especially when you've been arrested and you are not yet guilty of your charges. You are innocent until you go to court and you are proven guilty. So when you are there and everybody is squashed up in a cell, it's very worrying. And I feel the government needs to look at conditions of, you know, custody, prison conditions, all those things. They are very, very important for protests. Yes.
Now, do you think there will be any possible reforms, even after this documentary, after engagement? Do you foresee possible reforms?
Absolutely. You know, we've had success, for example, with partial abolition of the death penalty. I mean, that took more than 30 years, I must say. And although no one has been executed since 93, I believe, reforms happened and there was change. So I believe this is a first step in the right direction. We'll continue doing a lot of advocacy and public education, and we'll also review the Public Order Act and give our recommendations to the Office of the Attorney General in good time. We'll have a meeting with them, and then we'll see the way forward on how we can introduce a bill in Parliament to review this Public Order Act. Because at the end of the day, all we want is that people come out, people feel safe to come out and express their discontent, be it political, economic, social, but they should be able to do it freely and they should be able to do it in a safe way.
I think the security service especially need a lot of training on handling of protesters and protesters.
Yes, so I know they do have a lot of training already, but I think more needs to be done in terms of, especially with women. You see that women are handled really badly during protests. You saw that some women's shirts were being torn, being hassled, the way they were manhandled, you know. there has to be a gendered approach when it comes to protecting the protest. There has to be a more gendered approach so that people see that women need to be treated very differently during protests. We even have to look at the rights for children to protest. I saw that there were people under 18 that were at the protest. They have every right to be there because children have the right to protest as well. So this is something that we definitely need to see. So I would like the police to really look at a gendered approach in ensuring safety in protests. And when I say gendered, we are looking more at women, how we handle women during protests. Because in fact, some of the stories I've heard, the way women were maybe touched inappropriately and things like that, we need to do better as a society.
To Felicity Nelson, and
yes.
She mentioned that, she was manhandled, and she thought that, at that point, I was not guilty.
Yes.
So you could have handled me better.
Yes, because the issue is, when you are picked up, it's almost like you are picked up because you are guilty of something, the way you are treated. Again, I say this, not every police officer does this, but you do find a number not going by the book, not going by the right way to handle people. And that is something that we really need to work on with the police force. Because at the end of the day, they are the ones that will come out and protect us. So we don't have a choice. We have to engage with them. We approached, during the documentary, we approached Ghana Police several times to give their comments. We believe it's very important for the police to engage. But unfortunately, they just kept telling us, we'll get back to you. We'll get back to you. And the truth is, we couldn't wait for them. We used months. We even delayed, launching the documentary just to get their side of the story so that it's a nice, objective documentary. But unfortunately, they did not get back to us.
Do you think this lack of reception from the police will hamper effective protest handling going forward?
Well, sometimes, they did say they'll get back to us. They didn't give us a no answer, but delay also shows
also an answer.
Yes, delay shows some sort of, stance. But at the end of the day, we believe that dialogue is the key. Dialogue, engaging. We will continue to engage. We'll continue to push. At the end of the day, if there are disagreements, we need to come together as one. We can't say we won't work with the police. It's impossible. We have to work with them. So whatever engagement that we need to do with them, we are ready to do it. And we'll continue to send them letters. We'll continue. I'm happy that at least the Front Police Unit welcomed us, and we had a very good discussion. I wouldn't say we left being on the same page, but it's a start. Right. It's a step. And more dialogue, more engagement. We will get there one day where we can say that, the police are really protecting the rights of individuals when they come out to protest.
Beyond this documentary, what else would you want to do as Amnesty International and to look at the protection of rights of protesters?
Yes. So we would definitely, I mentioned the training in protest observation. I mentioned review of the Public Order Act. And then we'll also continue our public education on the right to protest, because what we don't want to do is that people curtail the rights of people during protests. We want people to continue coming out to the streets. At the end of the day, this is a democracy. So if it's a democracy, we should be able to come out and persons have their rights respected whilst they come out. We want to avoid tactics that are used by police force to suppress the right to protest. Some of the tactics are intimidation. We look at intimidation. We look at surveillance. You'll be surprised that even after a protest, people are picked up after the protest. Some probably were not even at the protest and they are picked up later on. So some of these tactics are used to put fear into people to come out to protest. So we want to ensure that those things stop completely, because it is not right. We also want to push persons to do other forms of protest. It's not just about marching. Sitting protests work really well. They're very effective. Where you decide you're not moving, you will sit for hours until you get a response, until government comes out to tell you something good that they will change. It's been used, this tactic has been used in Liberia. I remember when a child was raped and they demanded the government raise a state of emergency on gender-based violence and do something to ensure perpetrators of gender-based violence are jailed and follow due process. And there was change. I'm yet to see a protest that really hasn't brought even some 1% of change. So I believe that even for Stop Galamsey, the noise that was made about it was amazing. All walks of life, persons from all walks of life, journalists, academics, 60 plus persons were on the street, children were on the street protesting about Galamsey. So that should tell you that...
Should we encourage that? Children on the streets protesting?
Yes, children have the right to protest. That is the thing. Yes, they need to be supervised if they are under a certain age, but if a 16-year-old decides to come out on the streets and protest, they have the right to protest. If you're talking about a 12-year-old, yes, the person has to come with a guardian or someone with them. But if the child is there on their own right, that I want to demand better education from the government, for example, we see in Thailand, there's a huge wave of child protesters, and they are being intimidated, they are being picked up by authorities because they are not allowing them to protest. But children actually have the right to protest. You even see it in senior high schools. Sometimes senior high schools decide that they are, the students decide that they are protesting. So children have the right to protest. That is why it's so important that police make sure the ground is safe for everyone. So this documentary, we pray it goes further, but to educate people, but to also encourage people that, protests should not be seen in the negative sense. It is actually done
I think over the period, that's the picture we've painted.
Yes. Unfortunately, that is the picture we paint. When people see people go out to protest, people are like, oh, these people are bad. But they are anti-government. They are anti-government. That is also another issue. People think that protests are anti-government. It is not. What happens is that, yes, there may be certain people pushed into that maybe disrupt the protest. We call them protest disruptors. But genuinely, there are people there that really want to fight for change. And the only way to do that is to make noise. If you want to make noise, sometimes you do it the old-fashioned way, that is come out on the streets. Some people choose to do it online. That is great. I do a lot of activism online. But sometimes you have to come out to the streets as well. And that's why I admire a lot of the journalists. Some of the journalists, they don't even go there to protest. They are there to cover the protest and then get involved in all sorts of aggression. So this is something we need to take seriously in Ghana. The police need to do better. They need to do better. Looking at the human rights abuses of the 53 that were arrested, there needs to be an investigation launched into that, because some of them, they have told their stories about how their rights were infringed on. The police have issued several statements that show otherwise. But you're also hearing from the other side. When you hear from the two sides, they are telling different stories. So there's definitely a gap. There's definitely a challenge. How can Amnesty International, how can we ensure that the protesters are heard, but the police are also doing the right thing? So this is something that we want to look at as well. You see some of them, one lady was asthmatic. I know she came on TV and she said she was asthmatic, and they took her to the hospital. Even the money to buy the inhaler, there was no money provided. They couldn't get the inhaler for her.
Yeah.
These are stories of real individuals. These are real situations that actually happen. We talk about food. I went there. I volunteered one of the days to go and give the protesters some food. And one police station was fine. They received me well. Another police station too was fine. But there was another police station we went to. They told us that visiting hours are up. So we should go home with the food. But imagine volunteers going round the whole evening trying to distribute food to 53 protesters. By all means, we'll get somewhere late. And it's not a visit. It is giving someone food. There are basic necessities. Toiletries, food, that kind of thing. And then you refuse and turn us away. Like I said, some police stations were welcoming, others were not. So how do we ensure that, you know, there's a balance within the system, within the Ghana Police Service? More needs to be done.
Okay. It's been an interesting conversation. Thank you very much. And you're doing so well, Genevieve. That's Genevieve Patterson. She's the country director for Amnesty International. Jay's Today returns shortly after this breather. Stay tuned in. Welcome back to the show. This is OJ today here on GHOne TV. Now, if you're a young person who is interested in becoming the change that you seek, if you're between the ages of 14 and 24, lend me your ears. As a head of state award scheme, unfortunately, this year is going to be held tomorrow, but probably you can partake in next year's event. My guest this morning, Nanaya Frimpong, Operations Manager, Head of State Awards, John Kweku Otabil. I was tempted to say the other one. Finance Manager, Head of State Awards Scheme. Good morning, gentlemen. Good to have you.
Good morning, and how are you too?
I'm awesome, as always. Let's talk about the Head of State Awards. What is Head of State Awards Scheme, and how do people become a part of?
So, the Head of State Awards Scheme is an organization that seeks to empower young people between the ages of 14 to 24. What we do is that we bring the out of classroom experience. Usually we go to school and we are told what to do. We do the mathematics, we do the science, we do the English, social sciences and all that. But what we do is out of classroom experience. And so we provide young people the environment to also build themselves, so that when they come out of the classroom, they have what it takes to take over the world.
And over the years, what has it been like holding these award schemes? What have these young people learned, and even going back to the classroom, going back to the schools? How has it impacted?
We've had many people using the skills they have developed. So it is in 3 groups. You first take on the bronze, you take on the silver, and then you take on the gold. So after the gold, you are awarded by the certain president of the country. However, in these 3 categories, there are various challenges that you must take. One is the physical creation, skills, community service, and then the gold.
The adventurous journey.
Adventurous journey. So these are the things that you must partake in. And so by the time you are through with the bronze, silver, and gold, if you take up a skill, let's say I want to do journalism, you take up the skill. By the time you are through, you should be able to build yourself up, which of course you will not learn in the classroom. And so by the time you are done with school, you are able to combine the skill that you have developed over the years together with the experiences and the lessons you've learned in the classroom, and then it distinguishes you from the rest. And so we've had many people who are done and are in various positions, and they are using the skill very well.
Now, you guys were trying to put out 3 thematic areas: community service, adventurous journey, and what else?
Physical recreation activity.
Okay, help us understand.
Yes, so the program is basically saying that play a sport or engage yourself in some exercise to keep yourself fit. And this is just an hour a week. The whole week, just do an hour. And then the community service has got to do with giving back to the community. For instance, I'm an old boy of a certain school. Yes, so there's a need for us to go back and then give back to the school because the school did so much for for us. So rendering a service without taking any sort of a reward from. So normally our young people would like to go to beautiful TV stations like these, radio stations, hospitals, the court or the library to offer this free service. And as they do this, they also pick 1 or 2 lessons. They also get the opportunity to ask 1 or 2 questions from those they come across. And he also mentioned of the skills development activity, where young people are to learn a skill or improve upon an old one they already have. So if a young person knows how to sing, they want to do singing, for instance, for a skill. So we encourage such a young person to also learn an instrument, to beef up, to be able to play their own tune whilst they sing. So every person is allowed to choose whatever skill they would want to learn, depending on where their interest is. And the 4th one has got to do with the adventurous journey, where in our former regular schools, we are taught how to read maps, how to navigate and all that, but we never get the opportunity to practice this in real life. So at this level, young people are put into groups, and they hike from places to places with just the use of a map and then a compass.
They hike?
Yes, they hike.
In Ghana?
Yes, in Ghana, yes. They hike. And then they pitch tent, they camps, they live there in the private areas or the bushes or the rural areas where they come together, prepare their own meal. They literally survive, It's all part of a...
And how many days do they go for?
So it depends on the level at which. At the bronze level, it's just a 2 days hike.
Okay.
And then 1 night rest. Then it builds on as you climb from silver to the gold level. Yes. And then at the gold level, there's an additional requirement, which is the gold residential project. Just like in the university, when you are leaving, you do a project. Yeah, so young people have to come together, identify a social problem, and then try to find mitigation. So in the past, young people have come together to paint old school blocks of places. Some do advocacies. For instance, this year being an election year, we went for hiking, and all that we're doing was peaceful election before, during, and after. So that is sort of a project that young people could undertake as well. So having done these activities for a minimum of 6 months, an hour a week each, then young people are qualified to be celebrated with the Bronze Award. Then at the silver level, it also requires 12 months of activities. That is just an hour a week. Then at the gold level, it takes from 12 to 18 months. So the young people will be celebrating, God willing, tomorrow. They have been engaged in these activities for the past 18 months.
Oh, wow. A year and 6 months.
Yeah.
And so they qualify for the gold category.
Yes.
And what do they get? What's happening tomorrow? You mentioned that they are going to be celebrated tomorrow.
Yes, 362 young people will be celebrated by the president.
362?
Yes, 262.
Okay.
Yes.
Across all ages, or there's an age category?
So at the gold level, you have to be at least 16 years.
16
years to take part in the activities because of the rigorous nature. Yes, so the ceremony or the awards will come in the form of a certificate. They get 2 medals. One is a lapel pin. Then the other is just like the Olympic medals they put around their neck. Yes. Like I said, the certificates are very good. They are the icing on the cake. But however, we are more interested in the skills, the lessons they acquire as a result of taking part in the various activities. Yeah.
What is this year's the theme?
Nurturing future leaders for a thriving tomorrow. And so what we are trying to say is that young people need to be nurtured. I've been into interviews where I've asked, what are you bringing to the table? Sometimes after going through the process, you get to be pegged with somebody, and the organization wants to find out what extra do you have that your other person doesn't have. What HOSA does is that we nurture young people. Assuming we've sat in class and we've all gone through, what I possess you don't possess, and so I come in with something extra. I am mentally fit. I've been able to place in an uncomfortable situation, and I've found my way out, and I've come out. I also have a certain skill that I possess that you might not possess. And so what we intend to do is that we want to provide that environment for young people to thrive in the future. Tomorrow, everyone is looking for a white-collar job. Our skill development affords young people to learn a certain skill they can apply in the future. I have certain colleagues who are at home and they don't have jobs. But what we do, other people learn sewing, they learn how to make beads, they learn how to make soaps and all that. So when you are done with school, and even if the job is not coming, you have something.
You have a skill.
You have a skill that you can use and then get something to eat. And so that is what we intend to do. So this year, what we are doing is that we want to nurture young people. By the time they are through, I believe that they'll be prepared for the world.
You mentioned that the president is the patron of the head of state awards.
Yes.
Every president.
Every president.
Is the president in attendance tomorrow?
Yes. He's been in attendance since he came into power. He's never missed any of them.
Yes,
in fact,
this is his 7th GAP award presentation. The very first one he missed because he was not in the country, and the vice president, the Peter stood him. Yes, so he's been the only president consistently for 7 good years without fail. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Who else is coming for this event?
So this year we have the governor of the Bank of Ghana coming to support. We have the minister for the voter region coming to support. We are also going to honor certain individuals, legacy and guardian, people who have been able to distinguish themselves in their industries. We are also going to honor people who have impacted Ghana, and then young achievers. And so we have so many people coming, and it's going to be a wonderful time. And so
but if I'm a parent, if I'm a young person out there, I want to challenge myself and partake in next year's event. What do I do?
So I'll let Nana
Nana
take that.
Yes, it's just simple. They will just have to make contact with us, not just parents. We're looking out for all organizations that work with young people. Whether the young people could talk, they could walk, they are in wheelchair, no matter what their circumstance is. Once they are between the ages of 14 to 24 years, we are able to work with them. So they just have to make contact with us at HOSA Ghana. We are on all social media platforms. I could also put our phone number online, so that if that would be okay. Yeah, 0302 967 406, 0302 967 406. And also to add up to what John said earlier with regards to our guests coming in, as you may know, the program is of the foundations in the UK, so we are just franchised to run the program in Ghana. So we have officers from the foundation from the UK and from Kenya who would also be gracing the occasion as well. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. We wish all the people well. That's John Kweku Otabe, his finance manager, head of state awards scheme, and Nanaya Afrin Points operations manager, head of state awards scheme. Now, tomorrow is Black Friday. Let me give you some good news. Class House Electronics says they're giving you up to 40% discount. They're also giving you free giveaways when you shop for your air conditioners, your blenders, your irons, your washing machines, tabletop fridges, and more. All you need to do is visit our showrooms in Medina, Kaswa, Ho, Adabraka, and Kumasi Santase. We're also located on the Spintex Road. Remember, the terms and conditions apply. But you can call us on 0598902908 059. Please take your pens and paper. 05989029008. You don't want to miss this free giveaways and a whopping 40% discount when you buy all your appliances from Class House Electronics. This is GH Today. We are back shortly. Yeah, welcome back to the show and the spirit of celebrations. I'm sure you remember this. Yenyo Ghana Black Stars. Say Ghana Black. I'm not going to you. Oh, my eyes here in the studio. Oh, how are you? How have you been?
We are hiding somewhere.
You've been hiding, yeah? You're really hiding a lot.
Yes, I'm hiding.
So what have you been up to? We've not heard any new tunes from you.
Since.
Yeah.
I'm preparing myself to
You're preparing yourself?
Yes. I was a bit busy doing something and I can't. So I'll tell you later. But apart from that, I'm here today.
What happened to your political quest? You wanted to run for parliament in Anyaso.
We'll talk about
that. Why did you abandon that? Why did you abandon that? Because I thought you would have made a fine.
From some advice from some,
Then you decided to let it go. But it's good to see you, as always.
You
never age.
I don't know why. I can't even tell the secret. If you ask me, I cannot even tell you the secret.
I know, honestly. Right? But it's good to see you. Black Stars, say Black Stars, do
you know what? It's like people keep asking me things about Black Stars. But now I don't want to talk about Black Stars. So it's not about me. I am not.
You said
yes, I am not on the field, but then I was just giving them morale from afar, giving them power to be able to, play well. You understand? The rest on them. So I think if there's anything, we have to hold the administration responsible because we've done our part. There are lots of things they're supposed to help people to do so that the team will stand on its feet. But things didn't go on very well, as I am expecting. From the look of things, that's what I know. So it looks as if a lot of people are angry, in feelings, Honestly, people are not happy. People have good hearts, good energy around Black Stars. But the moment they draw it, it means that you cannot go anywhere. You're the nipa and a yard here. You understand? So anytime you are dealing in human, you have to know how to handle them very well. Because nipa niwa they cannot operate alone. Anything that they do, they need support, they need morale from the country. And before the country, there's always a single person, there's always an individual who will be able to stand on his or her feet to call the people to support them. And when things are not being handled well, they'll be tired. So people are tired, honestly.
Are you tired of the Black Stars?
I am.
Do you think they did not appreciate you enough?
They did not treat me well at all. At all.
What were you expecting?
Bible says, I want everybody to understand it clearly. That's why as whether baby or free by piano because publicly what Grace Ashley was doing. So at the end of the day, if I just sit here this morning to tell you from GHOne, last time for my mommy I was doing all these things by myself. And definitely I'll be tired, Say I pokran and so etogu my bedroom baby no. Say nsu anta enya ne limit na ehwehwe no. You understand?
Yeah.
Enti omunyes kana yo omma ebi. Omma ebi dia ne yakone de no anu no.
Enti umonyoma Black Star bi mo.
Oh, not maybe they don't even need my service.
That's how you feel?
Yeah. If you need somebody's service, Obama support. Now why here? So who say Nipana is doing it from Onwa Nimu, and you are not doing anything. The moment you see that Nipana necessarily can't perform, or drop it. If you need a person, you would definitely follow the person and go and look after him.
What do you think was the reason you were not appreciated enough? Is it the GFA? Is it the sports ministry? Who was it?
My dear, we are in Ghana, and anything that we do here is intentional.
Absolutely.
people normally come out to say that who told you that? It's intentional. GFA can never tell me that they don't know I was composing for Black Stars, because on 3-4 occasions I went to Nyantechi. You understand? I've been to ministries, and it's like anything that you go there to discuss with them, at the end of the day, you not even receive any response from them. I don't know why they were not appreciating. That is why I was telling you that it could be that my efforts was not needed. They didn't need anything that I was doing for them. So I have stopped.
You have a peace walk coming up.
Yes.
Why celebrity peace walk?
Celebrity peace walk because this is where we come from. This is where we operate. As celebrities, we lead a lot of things to happen. So we can call all Ghanaians to come and ride behind us, to walk, to get towards the coming election. We all know that any election that has come to pass, there have been chaos, little. Nobody knows what is ahead of us. And this time around, it's not normal as people think. You know, it's not normal. So we, the celebrities, are coming together to tell Ghanaians, hey, come ride with us, let's walk. We want to talk to the politicians, talk to ourselves, talk to the youth, talk to all over the country that we need peace. Because if you can get a conducive grounds to operate, it's peace. When you don't have peace, there is nothing you can do. So we are calling all Ghanaians to come 30th Saturday, November.
This very Saturday.
This very Saturday. We are all meeting at Obra Sports.
Okay.
And we end at Alajo Astrotech. Yes, that's where we are going to end, to give our message, because GHOne is going to be there.
Of course.
All the media houses are going to be there. And they want to see what the celebrities have for Ghana. And what we have for Ghana is we need peace.
Exactly.
We need understanding. We want to tell the EC, we need free and fair election so that people can accept it easily. That is what we want to tell the Ghanaians.
You say we the celebrities. How many celebrities are coming? Who are coming? Who are those coming to join you?
You are one of the celebrities. I'm sure you are coming. So I'm calling all celebrities. For us at now, Osebo the Zara man is with us.
he will show us the fashion walk. Yeah.
You know, Okataji Afrifa is coming, Captain Smart is coming, Just Blessing is coming, Gifty is coming, Kofi Sapon is coming, Selena Boatin is coming, a lot that I cannot mention. So we are calling everyone. Bolare, wherever you are, please, you are invited.
You will definitely be there.
You have to be there. So we are invited, all of them, and Ghanaians as well. I am sure this is going to be the first time somebody is going to meet somebody. Even the celebrities. Somebody has not met somebody before. So this is the first time. So we are all coming under one roof to make this work happen.
So when you converge at Alajo, are you going to do a concert? What are you going to do? Will it just be speeches or music?
There's going to be speeches because Papa Amwakwata is going to be there.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Pastor Ayi from Pentecost is going to be there. A lot of pastors are coming. So definitely we are going to receive messages.
Is it going to be free?
Free. Work is free, you know.
And so when you converge at the AstroTurf too, it's also free?
Yeah, it's free.
Okay, so
it's free.
Just come
for the first time, come and meet a lot of celebrities for free. Because it's about peace.
What will make, is it that you've been doing this yearly or every 4 years?
I think we are it's not yearly.
Every 4 years.
Every 4 years. Because it's every 4 years that we have elections. It's going to be every 4 years.
And why should somebody come and join you this year? What did you do last year that you're going to improve upon, or you're going to do differently?
It's a maiden one. This is the first time we are doing this.
Come again?
This is the first time.
Okay.
Yeah, this celebrity walk is Celebrity Peace Foundation brought it. So this is the first one. It's the maiden one.
Oh, this is the maiden one.
Maiden one. Yeah.
Okay, so everybody should come.
Everybody should come.
No age limit.
No age limit. Once you can walk, that's it.
But has the police given you the go ahead to walk?
Yes, please. We've been there.
You had a meeting with them?
Yeah.
And they assured you that
yes,
they'll be there to protect everybody. Okay.
You know, we're going to deal with celebrities, so there's no way you can go without security. You know, so we definitely have to bring them on board.
Is there any new thing you're working on?
Very soon, I'm working on my 25 years in the music industry.
Wow.
Yes.
25
years. That's how far God has brought us.
That's a lot of time.
Yes.
Wow. But how does it feel? I mean, 25 years on, do you think you've earned your due?
I've not earned my due, but then there have been challenges, you know. So when those challenges comes, it's an experience. And after that, maybe you may not be doing giddy because age-wise, and the youth are coming. So if you have anything to do, you can build up the youth to support them, and anything that you have in you too, you can also bring it out.
A lot of the time, we see gospel acts fizzle out when they age. Do you think it's time to re-look at succession? So, for instance, what other secular acts do? Lately, we see that Kwame Eugene has a label, and even though he says he's not ready to sign anybody, but he has a label. Is this something that gospel acts should consider?
I think we have to. Maybe it's something we've not thought about, but we have to. It's very necessary, because when you cannot operate and you see your predecessor operating, you feel very happy. So I think we have to think about that.
Do you think there's anything that can be done to make music in Ghana more attractive, especially gospel music?
My dear, for now, I know gospel music is being attractive.
More attractive.
In fact,
it's getting better.
It's getting better. It's getting better, because 25 years ago when we came, it wasn't that easy. There are a lot of things you cannot even do. Your ways, your appearance, your this. You know, people will be confronting you. A Christiani, and our dresses say, and a Christiani, and you are doing this. You know, and I don't think God wants us to dress anyhow.
Yeah.
You understand? And the perception people have sometimes is wrong. If you see Grace Ashley wearing trousers, it's because of the stage, the way I want to perform. Because when you have anything like this, you cannot move the way you want to move.
Exactly.
You understand? So we want them to understand us. Because of the performance, you can wear anything that will make you so easy to move. You understand? That was from the beginning. But as at now, yes, people are still talking about it. But then, I think the youth this time are also okay with the kind of dressing.
And so you think they should also embrace the fact that gospel acts can do songs with secular acts?
Come again?
Gospel artists can do songs with secular acts.
Of course, there's nothing wrong. We are all under one roof. The names is what changes. We have same rhythm, right? So there's nothing wrong. It depends on the kind of voice that you use. I don't think you can go and do anything with a secular musician to use this, you know, profane words, you know. So that one cannot be possible. But if, like the way Kwame Eugene did for Just Blessing, Empress Gifting, there's nothing wrong.
It's just about propagating
It's a message. So once the person has it, that's it. It's the same message. And also, you understand? And they go to church as well. So any message that they carry, together, we can bring it out.
And so we're going to be seeing more songs with you and secular acts in the coming days?
Oh, yes.
And anybody?
Don't be surprised. I am surprised. I'm surprised. I'm surprised. Yes.
But it's good to see you.
Good to see you.
You're looking so good. You're looking so well.
Thank you.
And I hope that in the coming days you come up with a record label, and then you can train more acts.
One thing is when you are being produced by one person, not a brand or not a company, and something happens, definitely you go off a little bit. You know that that'll be some of our issues.
Your challenges, yeah. Okay.
So we are rebranding ourselves.
You're rebranding. Obaya Papebi. Thank you very much. So this Saturday, we're walking for peace. We're converging at the Obra Sports, walking all through to the Alaju AstroTurf. We want to ensure that there's peaceful election because this is the only place we have. We have just one Ghana. We want to ensure a free, fair, transparent election before, during, and even after the election. So Obaya is inviting all of you, no age brackets, just coming. Let's walk and ensure that the message is out there for people to know that we want a free and fair election. And we want a peaceful Ghana as well. Kind care to see the Peace Foundation.
Yes. I want to thank Verna. In fact, they have done so well. You know, when you are having such programs, you need sponsors. And you can write as many letters as you can.
Yeah.
But those that can respond are few.
Yeah, sure.
And Verna is one of the companies who have shown love to us towards this peaceful walk. We thank them so much. We thank them so much.
Okay.
But the sponsors should keep coming because
we
we've sent the letters. We need them. Tell them they should bring us money to do a lot of things that we've not done.
Money for because when people come, they want t-shirts, they want water, they want drinks, they want food, you know. So please, sponsors, come on board. Because, you know, this is just the country we have. And this is the message we're trying to sell out there. For an election that has major stakes, we want to ensure that it is free and fair. Grace Ashiobaya has been my guest this morning, and she's celebrating 25 years in the industry. When you are celebrating it, I'll come back and have an interview with
I'll come and then join you guys.
Of course. GH today continues with Voters Connect. We were in Asante Achem North. Sewami here led it, and she spoke to voters on what will make them vote for whichever candidate, whether it is OK Frimpong, whether it is Apia Kubi, or the NDC candidate. What will inform the choice of votes this December?
Baba Sadiq has joined me here. He's the NDC's parliamentary candidate for Kaikwe Central. And I'm joined by a gentleman on the left as well. The candidate for the NPP is not here. We expected him to be here, but he is not here. And so, Mr. Gentleman, who are you?
Thank you very much. Good morning to all of us here, constituents of Kaikwe Central. My name is Alhaji Haruna Rafik. I'm the first vice chairman for this constituency, NPP.
All right. So we have the first vice chairman of the NPP here, and we have the NDC's parliamentary candidate. Ideally, we would have loved to speak to both candidates. Unfortunately, the NPP candidate is not here, but the show goes on.
So,
Baba Sadiq,
excuse me, I should let you know why the NPP candidate is not here. We all know Honorable Member of Parliament is a lawyer by profession, and as we speak, he's in the courts handling some cases, and that is why he's not here. That is why he's not here. But we are here fully representing him, and we are going to make sure that the people of Kaikwe Central know the good job that he has done.
But your other colleague said last Monday he was here, but he didn't see up courts then.
Who said?
He said he was here last week. They said he was here yesterday. Didn't see up courts.
Oh, but is it for them to decide when he has a case in court? That's okay. No, we should know this. Lawyers don't decide when a case is called.
Okay, so why would you say this? Have a case
Please,
today, but
we should link some of this things. The man is a lawyer, and you know it, and he's in court. Simple.
Thank you.
He doesn't need to be here to tell the people what he has done. Even Baba Sadiq knows what Honorable Patrick Yabwaba has done. Finish.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Baba Sadiq, thank you very much for coming, joining us, making the time to join us. Because we know Baba Sadiq has a job too.
Right.
But he made the time to join us here.
Yes.
Baba Sadiq, so you've heard from the people, and I'm sure that you've been monitoring all of the polls that have come out of this constituency. But you still seem to be very confident of winning the seat.
Yes.
How is that so?
Well, I mean, if you had the feedback, but firstly, I think that we need to address one thing. Honorable Patrick Yabwaba is an MP. As an MP, he's not supposed to keep a profit-making job. So this excuse that he's gone to Parliament as a lawyer doesn't actually wash. It means that if he's doing that, he needs to be presented to the Privileges Committee for them to actually investigate him. I cannot agree. Consistently,
but can he not
let me just consistently. This is not the first time. I have always made the point. That because he lacks significant personal legacies, Honorable Patrick Yabwaba will never. You remember when you called me? I told you that Patrick Yabwaba will not come. There is something he's afraid of. When TV3 came into the constituency, he didn't come. When you presented as well on 2 different occasions, he didn't make himself available. What is there to run away from, first and foremost? If indeed you claim to have done a lot of the work. But for me, I've always made this point that for anybody seeking to be a leader of a consensus at Kaikwe Central, you need to begin to adapt to making yourself available for scrutiny, making yourself available for the people to question your ideas, to question your goals and your objectives towards improving their lives. This is the barest minimum any constituents can actually ask for. This is a very important constituency. It is one of the uniquely placed constituencies that anybody seeking to be an MP, anybody that has been retained at least 12 years, 3 different times, going to 4 times by the constituents. I think that we've been magnanimous with Honorable Patrick Yabwaba enough for him to avail himself to speak about his records. Look, somebody just came to speak to him, to speak for him. I'm scandalized. I'm actually scandalized to think that Honorable Patrick Yabwaba thinks that the youth of Kaikwe Central are lazy. And this is some of it. 2 people from the party have actually expressed the thinking of Honorable Patrick Yabwaba, which accounts for the massive youth unemployment within the constituency. Look around us. Go into each and every of the lecture areas. You can't really point to people whose lives have actually been changed by Honorable Patrick Yabuama to actually show for the 12 years that he's been made an MP. In fact, he's one of the most over-pampered MPs in Greater Accra region, owing to a lot of the misinformation they put around. Look at some of the things that they are mentioning. Look, I had to question him a couple of times. The man Jajachima came to say that in Fadama was not a village. I was born here. As far as I was born here from 1985, we've had lights. No, there was not a single part of Fadama here that we didn't have lights. We've had light, we've had water. My house is here, the chief imam's house is here. In fact, this station that we are sitting in was done during the and it started with the JJ Rawlings and then came into Kufo. This hospital, this Praga Center they show, in 2006 when it was established by the AMA, initially it was a toilet facility until ECOM. Look, there was an organization called ECOM Agro-Processing. ECOM Agro-Processing developed this and expanded it for the chief imam. The reason why Patrick Buama's name is on it is that he made a promise to keep it operationalized because his government was in power. Go there today, go there, it's just here. See if it's operationalized. So people are not patronizing or coming here, not because it's not been done. But we opened this basketball court. This building has been there from 2006. It was expanded. It was expanded by Ecom Agro Processing. The records are there. I have said that the era where members of his party, of his supporters, continue to push misinformation, claim projects that have been done by others as his. I mean that is in the past now. Look, this road network that's lying right here was done by Isuya contractors. Yes, right, Isuya contractors. I know the historical records of the constituency. From Fadama Junction to Bombay, Isuya contractors joined in the mid-90s. Again, this road network that lies between here, behind the market here, in 2012 when it was done, was originally done in 2012. From Abeka Pleasure Point to Flat Top, initially there was no road onto the Flat Top area. Again, it was done in 2012 when he was not even an MP. Today,
Go ahead, Baba Sadi, go ahead.
Look, I knew this is what they will come to do. Honorable Patrick Yabuama will not make himself available, but he sent his supporters who are not aware. Look, I can debate him anywhere. I have said that I will debate him anywhere on the records. You cannot continue to claim state government, central government projects and claim it as yours. Okay. Indeed, if you are claiming central government projects in Okaikwe Central, it shows that you lack significant personal legacy projects. Where is your personal legacy projects that you've done within the constituency? Why are you claiming things done by the Ministry of Roads or Urban Roads and Highways Department?
But he probably lobbied for it.
How did he lobby? Show me an evidence of the lobbying. Where is the correspondence that shows that he lobbied? How did he lobby for it? This is a very silly excuse my language, that everybody continue to use. Look, and this is not only an MPP thing. I am aware that there are some MPP, even NDC MPs, when our party is in power, when central government does a project within a particular constituency, particularly when they try to take credit for it. That is the most hollow excuse anybody can give. Today, the kind of MP where we are headed as a country, the kind of MP you are looking for is not only an MP that can make laws, but an MP that understands the unique challenges of their constituencies enough to rely on their experience, on their insight, and their own ingenuity to be solving the challenges.
So, Baba said,
this is where we are.
Going into these elections, give them, because your constituents are here. Some of them, those who are not here, are watching or listening to us. What are the key things that you are promising to do for the people, for which reason they should vote for you?
Well, first and foremost, you heard the feedback from the people. There are a lot more things wrong with the constituency. Okaikwe Central, the 80% of the people that live in the constituency are young people below the ages of 50 years. The biggest issues that confronts them is a massive youth unemployment within the constituency today. These young people are not lazy. I disagree. I was born here, I was raised here, I'm a young person from Okaikwe Central, and nobody looking at my track record will say that I'm lazy. I got opportunity to show and prove what I can do. There are a number of them, able-bodied young men and women who are ready, who have the necessary qualifications, who just want to be placed, who just want the necessary support for them to be able to scale up their businesses and all of these things. These young people in Okaikwe Central are not lazy. They cannot be lazy. there needs to be a conscious opportunity to be able to enable them. So these are some of the things I intend to do. These are some of the things I intend to do. In 12 years, I am saying that if there was a presence of a youth and a job center within the constituency today, I am sure that by now, some of the challenges related to youth unemployment would have been addressed. I am promising that when I come in, ideally the role of the MP is to make laws. But beyond making the laws, whatever intended benefit of the laws that's supposed to bring to the people, today you need to have an MP that, like I indicated earlier, can rely on your experience, your insight, and ingenuity to solving them. We need innovative solutions to be able to address some of these challenges. This is why I am promising for us to create the Youth and Job Center within the constituency. I think and submit that the youth and the presence of a Youth and Job Center within the constituency can do, among other things, coordinate job placement for young people within the constituency. Beyond that as well, it will be a point where young people can seek the necessary. Look, the NDC had already promised the National Apprenticeship Program. I can understand their feedback. Honorable Patrick Aboma can never express himself like the way I'm expressing, so they cannot allow themselves for these things to happen. So I get it. I know. I told the producer and the host that he will never come and debate. Rather, what he will do is that he will bring a few of his fanatics for them to come here to try to disrupt the conversation. Other than that, this is a very important conversation. So let me continue. The Youth and Job Center would, among other things, also be that point where we can use to coordinate, mobilize, organize young individuals and submit them to the National Apprenticeship Program that the NDC had promised. For example, the NDC had also promised the National Women's Bank. In fact, as a constituency, we need to well position ourselves to take advantage of such national policies. How do we find a particular one-stop shop where we can identify some of these hard-working women traders within the women entrepreneurs within the constituency and provide them the necessary support and guarantees for them to access these particular benefits? And this is some of the things that I intend for us to do with the Youth and Job Center. I am very confident that the presence of a Youth and Job Center within the Kaikwe Central will go a long way to deal with the massive youth unemployment within the constituency. For me, I have said to everybody that I am not looking for us to come and claim state projects. I am the NDC parliamentary candidate. I have asked everybody, is it logical for me to claim these projects that has been done by NDC and John Mahama? It doesn't. As an MP today, you need to have your own personal legacies. A few of the things that they are talking about, we keep doing it and done it. In terms of health, as recent as yesterday, we've organized not one, not two, not three, health initiatives free health initiatives within the constituency. In terms of skills, I am in opposition, but we are able to still identify young individuals and provide jobs and support for them. Some of them are still living in tree music. Some of them have gotten hand skills, a lot of them, from makeup to all of those things. So if even in position, as Baba Sadiq, we're able to do this without the benefit of the state taxes, then I deserve his support. But what we are looking for is that for 12 years that the constituency has been magnanimous for you, what is the significant legacy initiative that you have beyond claiming credit for central government projects?
All right, thank you very much. Let me come to the NPP rep. So you have heard Patrick and all the things that you have heard. Sorry, Baba Sadiq and all the things that he said.
Thank you very much. It's quite interesting. My brother keeps hammering on the fact that issue that Honorable Patrick Abouama cannot be here, he cannot debate him. It's quite sad that he is capitalizing on the absence of Honorable Patrick Abouama to make it look as if he's able to debate better than Honorable Patrick Abouama, who is a lawyer by profession. In fact, Honorable Patrick Abouama is an astute lawyer, and every constituent of this constituency knows what he's capable of doing, even on the floor of Parliament, where we have so many legal brains. Where intellectuals are speaking, that is where Honorable Patrick Abouama speaks. We are saying Please allow them.
Please go ahead.
My brother, allow them. That is their character. That is their character, and I'm not surprised they are doing this. You can see how gentle NPP was when they were speaking. And this is a clear defeatist approach. This is a clear defeatist approach. This is a clear defeatist approach.
Okay, don't worry about them. Let's talk about the substantive issue.
I am happy we are on camera and everybody has seen how uncivilized they are behaving here. So again, I am saying that Honorable Patrick Yabuama is an astute lawyer and he speaks in Parliament, and that is how come today most of the good things that we can boast of as a constituency, we have them. My brother Baba Sadiq keeps talking about Buama is taking advantage, and then he's trying to say things that have been done by the central government. He's taking credit for it.
Please go ahead.
He's saying Honorable Patrick Yabuama is taking credit for what the central government has done. I am particularly happy that he himself has recognized that the central government has been very, very impactful in this constituency. My brother just shot himself in the foot and he didn't know. But what happens is this: I don't know why my brother wants to go to Parliament if he doesn't believe that as a member of Parliament, aside enacting laws, you can also go and lobby and get goods for your constituency.
But he said that.
I am saying, he's saying that he's taking credit. But how do you take credit if you do not push for it to happen?
Okay, but what has...
Please allow me to flow. When you were speaking, you allowed me. Let me flow, please.
You
let me
answer
flow.
my questions.
Please don't interject me. When you were speaking, I was listening to you attentively.
So I ask the questions.
But if you are being unfair, I have to point it to you.
I haven't even started being unfair yet, so please don't complain.
Thank you. And we will not allow you.
Can you answer my question?
I won't allow you to be unfair.
Can you answer my question?
I won't allow you to be unfair.
Make your point.
You allowed him to flow. Let me finish speaking. Then if you have anything you can ask. I am not a walkover. Baba Sadiq is talking about Patrick Buama. He is not up to that level. He's not up to Buama's level. That is why Buama is not here.
I thought you said he was going to court.
Thank you very much. I said he's not his level.
But so he's not here because he's not his level, but not because he's in court.
He's not his level. Is he his level? He's not his level.
Is he in court or is because he's not his level? Which is which?
He's in court, but he's not his level. He himself, he knows.
Okay. Please, let's have some silence.
All right.
And Mr. Vice Chair, Mr. First Vice Chair, it is my show. When I want to ask a question, I will ask. You can choose to answer or not. But please, I don't think anybody here is a walk or pushover. Thank you very much. So go ahead.
Thank you very much. In as much as you are the host, if you are being unfair and I realize it, I point it to you.
I am not being unfair, for the records.
All right.
Go ahead.
Let me go ahead. What I'm saying is, as a member of Parliament, aside enacting laws, you push for developmental projects. Even Baba Sadiq, who is not an MP, which I doubt if he will ever be an MP for this constituency, says he is able to do things. He will be able to push for an agenda to be pursued. So now, let's ask ourselves. He just mentioned vaguely that he has been able to impact the youth, even as he's not an MP. He should be able to show us empirical evidence, because he asked a question that Honorable Patrick Yabuama should show evidence that he lobbied. He should show us evidence of the people that he has impacted in this constituency, even as he has not been an MP. Now, I am going to take all of us through initiative projects that has been done by Honorable Patrick Yabuama for this constituency.
Okay.
Aside the road networks, the pavement blocks that every constituent, including Baba Sadiq's father's house, in front of his father's house, the road was pushed and done by Honorable Patrick Yabuama. Even though Baba Sadiq has told us he was born and bred in this constituency, unfortunately he doesn't even live in this constituency.
Does Patrick Yabuama live in this constituency?
He lives here. Everybody knows where to find Patrick Yabuama. Let him tell us where he lives. Where does he live?
does Patrick Boama live in this constituency?
He knows where he lives.
Where does he live?
He lives just by Alton Drugs. His house is just here. That's where he lives. And every constituent knows where to find Patrick Boama. There is no one here.
They're saying
there is no one here.
They're saying it's a lie. He doesn't live here.
Who is saying this? Ask them. All of them. Honorable Patrick Boama lives in the constituency. It is only Baba Sadiq who doesn't live here just because he thinks there's an opportunity he's coming to become an MP. Just recently, I have Baba Sadiq's statement here. Baba Sadiq's statements at the police station where he himself has put his address here. It is here, I can share it with you. And his address is not in this constituency. I have it and I can prove it to you right now.
Okay.
If your producers can see me for it, and I'll show you his house address. So you cannot decide to live outside the constituency and come and be seeking for a position in this constituency.
Okay, Mr. Vice Chair, you were taking us, hold on.
Yeah, so I'm now taking you through.
They to say they know Mr. Patrick Boama's address.
I am saying that everybody here knows Honorable Patrick Boama's house, including Baba Sadiq.
Go ahead.
Now, it is not by mistake.
Please go ahead. We can hear you.
It is not by mistake that Honorable Patrick Boama on several occasions has been adjudged as the best MP in this country.
When?
It is not a mistake.
When?
Oh, just recent. The recent one was done earlier part of this year.
Who did it?
I'll get the institution that did it for you. But I'm telling you, Honorable Patrick Boama has been adjudged as best.
I'm a journalist. I haven't seen anything like that. So
I will supply that for you. I will supply that for you. So again, I am going to pick sector by sector, how Honorable Patrick Boama has improved the lives and the livelihoods of the constituents of this constituency. I'm starting from education.
Okay.
I'm starting from education. Honorable Patrick Boama has paid school fees for over 300 constituents of this constituency.
Which school fees?
300. Do you expect me to mention 300?
I said which school fees? For what level?
University.
University.
Yes.
Is that so?
Please.
Okay.
Let me go ahead. I'm not done yet. So let me finish. You can ask
300.
Over 300. I said over 300 students.
University students.
Again.
Do you have parents here whose children have benefited from it?
Look at them.
All of you.
Please.
Okay.
When the opportunity is given, they will come and speak to it, and they'll tell you.
So all these people have their children in the university. You, please come. Please hold on. Please. So hold on. Are you a delegate?
I'm not yet a delegate, but I'm a university student, a medical laboratory science student at Kolebu. Yes, and I had the opportunity for him to pay my school fees just last semester. That is, I'm a fee-paying student, and he paid all my fees just last semester, and I appreciate the fact that he paid my fees.
Because you are a member of the NPP.
No. Listen to me. I wasn't in this constituency. I just came here last year. That is when I came here.
And you went to join the NPP.
No, you are putting me wrong. I haven't made any statement.
But you are wearing an NPP t-shirt.
Because to show appreciation to Boama.
So you are not a member of the NPP?
No, but to show appreciation to Boama.
Are you a member of the NPP?
Yes, for Boama's sake. I will be a member of the NPP.
All right, thank you.
I will be a member of the NPP.
You may take your seats. Thank you. Please go ahead.
So
for education, he has paid about 300 university school fees.
Yes, that is one under education, and they are already crying. I have over 50 of them here. The second one is GHOne and GMPC scholarship. We have given over 200 scholarships to constituents of this constituency. 200 GHOne beneficiaries.
But those are not Patrick Boama's initiatives.
Those are things that he has lobbied to get for his people. I keep telling you that the man has lobbied. then Baba Sadiq has not, if he doesn't have the lobbying skills, then he has no business going to parliament.
All right, go on. Please go on.
Thank you very much. I'm continuing. But before I say that, I'm saying that on authority, if Baba Sadiq doesn't have lobbying skills, then he has no business going to represent us in parliament. If he cannot lobby,
please go ahead with the achievements. Go ahead with the achievements.
Another one is, he has supported JHS students. Just yesterday, we did one. The JHS students who are going to SHS, he provides them with mattresses and support financially to them as they are reporting to
JHS students with mattresses.
Yes, who are going to SHS. JHS graduates who are going to SHS. Even yesterday, we did it.
Okay.
With cash and then place. I am saying that Honorable Patrick Yabuama has donated dual decks to the public schools in this constituency. These are things that he has done personally. Again, he has fully funded vacation classes. Every parent, including the NDC people sitting here, all their children are beneficiaries of the free vacation classes.
Go ahead.
Honorable Patrick Yabuama has once again, through his lobbying skills, gotten from Get Fund the construction of a 12-unit classroom block, which is just being done in front of Baba Sadiq's house, just here. In front of Baba Sadiq's house, that is being done. Just by Baba Sadiq's father's house. Just by Baba Sadiq's father's house, that is being done. As we speak,
please, can you be
as we speak?
Yeah.
If you go to one of our electoral areas, Papanko, there's a cheap compound there. Honorable Patrick Yabuama has fully funded the renovation of that Papanko chips compound, which is currently operational. Honorable Patrick Yabuama has personally registered over 5,000 constituents on national health insurance. Meanwhile, they are all beneficiaries. You are all are you not a beneficiary? Are you not a beneficiary? All of you and your families. All of you and your families are beneficiaries. Today, I'm coming.
Hold on.
I have only picked education, and I'm telling you, if I want to speak about the venerable, honorable Patrick Yabuama, they will break.
So,
because the things Honorable Patrick Yabuama has done. Please wait.
I'm giving you the chance to say it. But are you telling me that for 12 years that he's been member of parliament, these are the things: paid school fees for 300 university students, refurbish the chips compound. Is there more? Can you run us through it very quickly?
All right.
Just run us through it.
I am telling you. Okay, now let's go. I'm just going straight forward to the list of what he has done.
Quickly,
I'm taking you to youth and empowerment. Jobs that they stood here to say they have not created opportunities for people. We have 200 beneficiaries in soap making. 200 beneficiaries. This was done just last year. We have 100 beneficiaries on IT training. We have over 180 beneficiaries on interior decoration. This is what we have done for the people. We have 250 beneficiaries for bakery. That's Honorable Patrick Yabuama for you. We have 350 beneficiaries in graphic design. 350 beneficiaries in graphic design. We have over 30 constituents who have received training in mobile phone repairs. We have 332 youths who have received training in startup kits and startup kits for makeup. We have 50 constituents. Listen, Honorable Patrick Yabuama has once again lobbied and gotten over 50 people in this constituency to get employment with Ghana Education Service. Again, we have 65 constituents who have been employed into various security services, the military, the police, the fire service, and all that. Let Baba Sadiq tell us what he has been able to do. Let Baba Sadiq tell us what he has been able to do.
Baba Sadiq is not a member of parliament.
But he was here boasting that even not being a member of parliament, he's able to impact.
All right, thank you very much.
No, let me finish.
It's time. Thank you. Thank you very much.
No,
so this is the vice chair of the NPP in the Okaikwe Central constituency. Thank you. You have spoken enough. Thank you. And Baba Sadiq, I'll give you the chance to respond, but I want to speak to the constituents, okay? You have heard both members of the, representative from the NDC and that of the NPP as well. Who is going to speak? Yes. Go ahead.
It's an NDC executive member.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We'll give the NPP will speak. Please.
Good morning, Sewa. What I'm holding in my hand here is their own project diary. So if only their people knows that what is in here is the truth, they should keep quiet, they should keep mute and listening to me. Perfect. The person speaking with you, I'm the assembly member for Blemago electoral area.
And an NDC member.
For sure. I will not lie.
Thank you. So just
I will not hide my identity.
So add it.
I am not going to hide my identity.
Don't hide behind Assemblyman.
Please, Sewa, I want to ask the first question. Visiting churches on 31st, is it a project? Visiting churches on 31st night, is it a project? If a makeup shop is having its graduation, if a makeup shop wants to graduate its students and you are invited, is it a project? I don't want to talk much. I want to open the last page and show it to you. This is Shino. This is Shino. I want to show it to the camera. Check this very school. They said what? Construction of 12-unit classroom in Shino School in Okankwe Central. I want you to take your camera to Shino and see whether you can locate this very school. Madam, I want to look. If I say I'll go through this very thing, we are not going to end. I should go through. No problem. No problem. As an assembly member, I started organizing a gala. Then I wasn't an assembly member. I started organizing a gala since 2014. Since 2014, as I speak with you, one of the participants in that gala, he's playing at this thing. He's playing Tamale United. The name is Faisal. Sewa, ask this MP, ask our MP here, Honorable Patrick Yabuama, since he started organizing galas for mechanic shop and washing bay. Each year, ask him each year, is any of them selected to be put in any premier this thing, football this thing, and also to end it all. As I speak with you, I'm going to show you one evidence. There is a guy seated here. This very guy. He started following Patrick since 2012. Do you know what he does? He washes his car. So I don't blame his own people. I don't blame his own subordinates to come and stand here and tell you that the people in Fadama are lazy. And what he said, it's not coming from him, it's coming from the MP itself. That is what the MP always tell the people of Okankwe Central. And I'm telling you, inshallah, we won Blemago in the elections of the assembly. We won them in Bamamo, we won them in Olengele, we won them in Wayama. We are winning this election for Baba Sadiq. Thank you very much.
Thank you too.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. So I was so surprised. Please. I was so surprised to hear my very parliamentary candidate for the NDC talk about the fact that because Honorable Patrick Boama isn't here, he's afraid of debate. I was surprised. The truth of the matter is that if somebody's absence is a grounds for saying that the person is weak. I find it so surprising. For me, my interest is that whatever we do, we must try our very best to develop our community, our constituency. The fact of the matter is that the 12 years I have experienced Honorable Patrick Boama, honestly speaking, I haven't experienced that of the NDC. I cannot speak for it. But to me, I believe that Honorable Patrick Boama deserves another term in office. Because I'm coming. Because as a student of parliament, I try as much as possible to follow all the members of parliament. I've seen what Honorable Patrick Boama does, and I believe that he deserves another term. 16 years.
So as a student of parliament,
yes,
as you say,
yes,
and someone who appears to be very interested in the developments of this constituency,
great,
point out 2 or 3 key things that he has done since he became member of parliament.
Exactly. So you see, I believe in building human capital. When you talk about human capital, we are talking about making sure that the vulnerable, those who don't have access to education, gain same access so that they can build themselves and become some important personalities in the community. You heard the vice chair talk about people he has paid their fee. See, if I tell you how some of us suffered before we were able to go to school, it will shock you. And so to build human capital is a great work, and I think that I salute him for that. I was expecting that my PC, probably I was not here, to also tell us that, oh, I've been able even to, let's say, assist, let's say, about 10 people.
Do you know why? I haven't given him the chance to speak, but okay. But do you know why? Do you know why you can't ask him that question? Because he's not a member of parliament yet, and your member of parliament has been on for 12 good years.
So let me say something. You see,
before you answer that, let's continue with the achievements.
Great. And you heard the vice chair talk about roads that he is been constructing in this constituency.
Is he using his own money?